Hyannis, Massachusetts, summer home of one of America's most famous families, the Kennedys, and site of tonight's matchup between the Hyannis Harborhawks and the Brewster Whitecaps. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Whitecaps Baseball. I'm Aiden Doyle, joined alongside by Carter Woodeel, and we are live at beautiful McKeon Park, where the Whitecaps look to start their season 2-0 for the first time since 2015. Before we get to today's matchup, though, last night, Carter, the Whitecaps got off on the right foot with a 6-1 victory over the Orleans Firebirds. You talked to Coach Shevchik earlier today. How does the team feel after their big win?
Well, he said it was important. Getting a win, it's only one game in the standings, but he talked about how getting that first win is kind of a monkey off a back for a lot of these guys. They're coming on, they've got a new team, they're new teammates, and if you don't get a win early, it can sometimes, he said it would feel like falling into quicksand if you have that heavy weight on you, kind of feeling like you need to get that first win. So it's out, it's done. They got a convincing victory last night over the Firebirds, and now they're looking ahead to what should be a good game tonight.
And one of the big stories last night was the offense, a two-run home run by Mickey Gasper, and that offense gets another boost today. Steele Walker, star outfielder out of the University of Oklahoma, got in last night, as our very own Morris Sheridan told us last night, and he's in the lineup tonight batting second. Walker, a star at Oklahoma for the Sooners, batted .330 this year. Carter, what are you looking for Walker in his Cape League debut?
Well, yeah, he's had a great season for Oklahoma, all Big 12 first team, but you could probably say he had an even better season last summer when he was in the Northwoods League with the Wisconsin Woodchucks up in the middle of Wisconsin in that Great Lakes area collegiate league. He torched that league, set a franchise record with a 20-game hitting streak, wound up with a 1036 OPS for that summer. So it's going to be hard to top those numbers when he comes out here to the Cape, but certainly for an offense that was clicking pretty well last night, it's another boost for Coach Shevchik's team.
It really can't hurt to have another strong offensive weapon in the middle of that Whitecaps lineup. But one of the bigger question marks on this team, a new philosophy this year as far as the pitching staff goes. Coach Shevchik's called it looking for, diamonds in the rough, under the radar players from smaller schools, relievers, trying to, make their names, have their big moment here on the Cape. J.R. McDermott gets the start tonight for the Brewster Whitecaps. He's looking to be one of those guys, the diamonds in the rough, the hidden gems. What did Coach Shevchik have to say about J.R. McDermott?
Well, he said it's possible for him to be one of those guys that they were looking for, and that's one of the things that they really changed after a tough season last year, especially in terms of pitching, when looking for those folks to come in and pitch for them. And Shevchik, he said to me that, he is a Division II guy. He's coming out of a Division II program, but he doesn't really look as a 1, 2, or 3 guy to measure how great of a pitcher he is. Right now, he knows that he's a guy that's had a lot of innings. He's struck out a ton of batters in his career at his D2 school, and now it's kind of a tryout for him. He's here as a temp player. He's here to try and show the coaching staff what he can do, and in the words of Coach Shevchik, try to make their decisions a little bit harder when they need to kind of make the tough decisions about getting the roster together looking ahead to later in the season.
You mentioned the strikeouts. He K'd 108 batters in 83 2/3 innings this year for Colorado Mesa. He's not the biggest guy in the world, just listed at just 6 feet tall, 185 pounds, originally hails from Aurora, Colorado, but he's got an interesting repertoire. Carter, what does McDermott throw that makes him so effective?
Yeah, he's one of the few college pitchers that's going to throw out 4 different pitches and use them at least relatively consistently. Those 4 pitches, a 4-seamer, a slider, a curve, and a change. He said he's primarily a fastball slider guy, especially when he's facing right-handers. He can mix in that curveball against righties. Against lefties, you'll see more of the curveball, and that's where you'll see the changeup. He'll mix that in when he's approaching, and that fastball is going to be spread out. That's the pitch he goes to the most.
Well, taking a look at this Harbor Hawks lineup, you'd expect to see a lot of changeups tonight from J.R. McDermott. Nearly all left-handed hitters for Hyannis tonight. Let's take a look at their lineup. Leading off, the center fielder Reese Hampton, switch hitter, will bat left against the right-handed throwing McDermott. Ford Proctor, the shortstop, batting second. Batting third, second baseman Tyler Frank in the cleanup spot. Left-hander Brendan Donovan, who starts at designated hitter tonight for Hyannis. Batting fifth, Robert Newstrom, right fielder out of the University of Iowa, another left-handed batter. Micah Coffey batting sixth, third baseman out of the University of Minnesota, one of the many Big Ten players already here on the Cape, batting seventh. Daniel Robinson, left fielder out of ASA College. Batting eighth, Cole Murphy, first baseman, another left-hander. And rounding out the Harbor Hawks lineup, catcher Chris Proctor, another left-handed hitter out of Duke University. The only right-handed hitter in that lineup is the number 3 hitter Tyler Frank, the second baseman out of Florida Atlantic. Carter, how do you approach a lineup with just so many lefties?
Well, it's tough. At least, and you wonder, the first thing that comes to mind when I see a lineup that's so stacked like that is when Brewster does go to the bullpen, as they probably will, we're probably going to see a couple of guys trot out from the dugout. As we saw last night with the Whitecaps, the top 3 hitters wound up getting pinch hit for in that 6-1 victory. But up and down the lineup, it means that, like you said, we're probably going to see a lot more changeups from J.R. McDermott and probably more of that curveball as well. So a little bit more of the funky off-speed stuff could be in order, but he's got to just stay in his zone and know that this is an important start for him, just not only in terms of kind of getting stats in this game, but looking ahead to the season to try and stay with the Whitecaps.
Is there a specific player in this Hyannis lineup that stands out to you? Obviously, Frank being the only right-hander makes him unique, but as far as statistically, performance-wise, who in this Hyannis lineup is the guy to watch?
Yeah, and Frank's coming off a 2 RBI night last night as well, so that certainly makes him a guy to keep your eye on. I'm also looking at Robert Newstrom, who's going to be out in right field. He had a terrific year defensively for Iowa, had a couple of those top 10 worthy plays, and right field here at McKeon Park is short. It's 332 to the power alley, so we might see some baseballs out there toward the wall, and Newstrom had a great robbery of a home run in the Big Ten semis during Iowa's run to the Big Ten title, and so we might see something like that again today, maybe, but it's somebody to keep your eye on.
It is short to right field here at McKeon Park, but the wind's blowing out towards left, so it could be a big offensive night for both teams. Now switching over to Brewster's side, let's take a look at their lineup. Leading off, second baseman Troy Dixon out of Samford University. He's batting left-handed, obviously, and plays second base. Batting second, the man you and I talked about, Carter Steele Walker, center fielder out of the University of Oklahoma. Batting third, Mickey Gasper had his first home run in the Cape League and the Whitecaps' first home run of the season last night in Orleans. Switch hitter, and he's playing first base. Batting fourth, Michael Curry, designated hitter out of the University of Georgia. Batting fifth, Chandler Taylor, lefty, playing right field out of the University of Alabama. Batting sixth, Darius Hill, getting his first start for Brewster, left fielder, batting left-handed. Batting seventh, Pete Schuler, the catcher out of Kent State, another left-handed hitter. Batting eighth, getting the start over A.J. Graffinino, is Chris Given, shortstop out of Xavier University. And rounding out the lineup, Christian Molfetta, who we saw pinch hit last night late in the game for Brewster. He's playing third base. Now that we have Steele Walker in this lineup, there are a few other changes for this Brewster Whitecaps lineup. Who's a new guy to watch?
Well, Mickey Gasper had a terrific night last night. Not exactly a new guy, but that, I think one thing to look at in terms of the way the offense is performing, I know the Whitecaps put up 6 runs last night, but aside from that, no doubt about it, 2 runs that we saw from Mickey Gasper last night in New Orleans, a lot of those runs came in on kind of, dare I say, flukish plays. There were some misplays in the field. A couple of them scored. There was a wild pitch on a ball 4 on a walk that wound up bringing in a run late in the game. So I think if you're talking about where Shevchik is going to approach this lineup, I think you want to look at see how these guys are going to be able to keep rallies going and string together some hits. And the addition to Steele Walker, it's going to be a shot in the arm, I think, to this lineup right there in the 2 spot.
Yeah, it seems to certainly be a powerful Whitecaps lineup indeed. And like I mentioned, wind blowing out towards left field here tonight at McKeon Park. And again, a short right field porch. Perfect for all these left-handed hitters. Well, Coach Shevchik and Coach Gassman of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks are exchanging the lineup cards. And Carter, it's another beautiful night here on the Cape. I know you're from New Jersey, but does it really get any better than this?
It does not. We have clear skies. The sun is setting behind us. Maybe not the best news for the outfielders who will have to contend with it, but for us behind home plate, it's gorgeous. And there is that bit of a breeze, like you said, blowing out toward left center. So good news maybe for the righties who are jealous of the lefties who have the short porch to fire for tonight.
Once again, a beautiful night here in Hyannis. Some fans filling in here at McKeon Park, certainly a little bit more down the third baseline where the Harbor Hawks have their dugouts, so the home crowd coming out in numbers tonight to support their Harbor Hawks, but some Brewster fans here as well. GM Ned Monty is here making his way towards us. A couple of Brewster Whitecaps hats behind us, and that's another thing to watch. There are so many loyal fans here for any team in the Cape League, whether it be Brewster or Chatham or Hyannis or Wareham. No matter where you go, you're going to have well-attended games, and not just by fans, but also by scouts. And that's something that Coach Shevchik pointed out to players before the season started, is that there are going to be scouts at every single game. So obviously focus on what you do on the field, but make sure you're watching how you carry yourself off it as well. be a good teammate, hustle out a ground ball, and I think we saw some of that last night from these Whitecaps.
Right, it's the stuff that doesn't show up in the stat sheet. That's what really that he was talking about. And we saw that, like you said last night, guys. Helmets flying off, hustling for grounders, taking the extra base when they need to, when a ball gets away to the backstop. That's the sort of thing that's going to be really interesting to watch tonight, to see how the players get together. And I really do think, and we were there when he was kind of delivering that message to the team. I think they've received that message, at least from watching just 9 innings of baseball last night. I think that they understand kind of how they're being looked at, and how much is on the line for them with those things you were talking about.
And one of the things that's really stood out to me is just so far how well this team has gelled. I mean, these are kids that come from all over the country, schools of different sizes. I mean, perfect example, J.R. McDermott getting the start tonight out of Colorado Mesa, Division II school. Michael Curry, the designated hitter, University of Georgia. Monster school. Steele Walker, University of Oklahoma. Different schools, different divisions, different conferences, but yet they're all here on the Cape. They all seem to be getting along, and I'm just amazed at the chemistry that this team has so far.
Yeah, I think part of that, and that was another thing that I kind of touched on with Coach Shevchik when we were talking a bit before the game, was with all this roster turnover going on, what can you do as a coach? And what he said is, well, we stay loose. We keep a loose environment. We make sure that players are relaxed. We make sure they're comfortable around each other, and that makes things easier when you're dealing with something like, not only are these a bunch of people that have never met before that are trying to go and play a sport in baseball that really requires you to be solid as a team, but it's changing on an almost daily basis, especially early in the year. And so that's something that certainly the coaching staff is keeping in mind, and that's something I'm sure the players are aware of as well.
Well, the Harbor Hawks have taken the field. Troy Dixon waiting on deck, and we'll take a break quickly with the national anthem. When we come back, it'll be Kevin Coulter delivering the first pitch of the ball game to Troy Dixon. Keep it right here. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball. Welcome back to McKeon Park. Troy Dixon, starting second baseman and leadoff hitter for the Brewster Whitecaps, digging in against the right-hander Kevin Coulter for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, and we are just about ready to get underway here in Hyannis. Right-handed throwing Coulter, left-handed hitting Dixon. Whitecaps in their beautiful teal uniforms. Myself, Dixon shows bunt but takes it back and takes a fastball over the inner half of the plate for strike one, and we are underway here in Hyannis. Coulter working quickly, fires in this one, roped right back up the middle. Moving to his right is Frank. Fields throws on to first in time to get the speedy Dixon for out number one.
Yeah, that's an important play. That's something that we saw a lot of people have trouble with, just a simple ground ball. And there's, of course, the pressure of having Troy Dixon, who is always a threat to run, dashing down to first base. A nice play there by Frank to keep his composure and get the out.
You mentioned Dixon's speed. He had a stolen base last night in his Cape League debut and would eventually come around to score after reaching on a walk in the 8th inning. And now it's Steele Walker digging in for the first time for the Brewster Whitecaps. This is the man a lot of people came to see, Carter.
Yeah, he's got a ton of confidence.
Coulter deals a fastball low, misses below knees for ball one. Walker, a left-handed hitter, hailing from the University of Oklahoma. As Coulter looks into his catcher Proctor through the windup, kicks and deals. Fastball fouled straight back to the net, and the count evens at 1-1. Coulter once again looking into Proctor through the windup and the 1-1. Took a little off that, but caught the outside part of the plate, and he's ahead in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
That's a good pitch. It'll be interesting to see how Coulter is able to mix that changeup in. That's one of his better pitches.
Coulter's 1-2. Skied in the air, drifting out of play down the third base line, and that one will fall foul, so Walker stays alive, and the count remains 1-2.
And really seeing where he'll pull the string is so important for his entire pitching arsenal, as Coach Coulter really uses the slider and even the fastball to kind of work the way over to the change. That's kind of the pitch that he uses as his out pitch to try and nab tough hitters like Steele Walker.
You mentioned tough hitters. This year for Oklahoma, Walker batted .330, hit 8 home runs, 51 RBI, 74 hits, 49 runs scored, and was named to the All-Big 12 first team. Coulter's 1-2. Cut on and missed, off-speed pitch down in the dirt. Walker chased, and quickly they're two-way here in the top of the first.
Well, I said that it was the change that was the out pitch, but he got him with the slider there. Nicely done in the dirt, and Walker not happy with the way he went, was baited for that pitch down low.
Well, that's the beauty of getting ahead in the count when you're a pitcher. You can throw that pitch down and away, out of the zone, nowhere near being a strike, and just try and get the hitter to chase. That'll bring up Mickey Gasper, this time batting left-handed against the right-handed throwing Coulter, as he takes something off for strike one, and he's quickly ahead 0-1.
How do you like that? If you're Gasper, you go to Orleans where left is short and you bat right. Now you go and bat left where right is short here.
The 0-1 from Coulter, roped right back up the middle and into center field for a base hit. Gasper continues to show off the bat as he is aboard for the Whitecaps' first hit of the evening.
Yeah, and he timed that pitch really well, just straight back up the middle. We saw a few of those hits last night from both sides. That was one of those, just a hard ground ball that nobody could get. And that's when you know a guy's seeing the ball well, when he starts to send stuff right back where it came from.
So now with a man aboard, it'll be Michael Curry, tonight's Brewster's designated hitter tonight. Right-handed hitting, typically a catcher out of the University of Georgia. Another Whitecap who possesses prodigious power, to put it quite simply. Coulter working from the stretch now, kicks and deals a fastball over the outer part of the plate for strike one. Curry this year for the Bulldogs batted .297, led the team with 10 home runs, and led the team with 46 RBI as well. Coulter looking over at first, checking on Gasper, and will now throw over there as Gasper dives back easily. Curry originally, actually after moving there to attend high school, from Gainesville, Georgia, where he attended Gainesville High School, along with now Houston Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson. As Coulter throws over to first once again, Gasper once again dives back safely.
I'm sure he has to be harking on that experience. We talked about it a little bit last night about how he left his mountain town, North Carolina, to go to Gainesville to attend high school. Now he's leaving college to go and be with a new team on the Cape. It's a pretty similar scenario.
Coulter deals, and this one's crushed out to left. Going back is Robinson, and it's over his head. Gasper rounds second as the ball rolls all the way to the wall. Gasper being roped into to home. High throw, he slides in, and he is out. The relay from Robinson out and left in time to get Gasper at home. Curry absolutely crushed that ball to left field, but Gasper gunned down at home by the relay from left. So that'll do it for the top of the first. One hit, no runs, no errors, one man left on. As we move to the bottom half of the first inning, still no score here in McKeon Park. Keep it right here. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball. Welcome back to Hyannis, where the score is still 0-0 after half an inning, with now the Hyannis Harbor Hawks coming to bat. J.R. McDermott on the mound for the Whitecaps. So let's take a look at his numbers this year, where he attended Colorado Mesa for his freshman year. The team was very successful, went 50-12. He went 9-1 with a 3.12 ERA in 16 appearances. First pitch to the leadoff man, Reese Hampton, grounded towards second, fielded on a hop by Dixon, throw on to first in time for out number one. So one pitch, one out, and J.R. McDermott's Cape League career is underway.
This is one of those things that the Cape Cod League offers that not a lot of leagues can offer something to watch it, from a fan's perspective. Here's a guy that's trying to win a ball game for his team, but he's also trying to prove himself, trying to stay on this at this terrific summer league and with the Brewster Whitecaps. It's a tryout for him, a 10th player coming from a small college. We've been over it, and it's going to be interesting to watch.
That'll bring up left-handed hitting shortstop Ford Proctor in his second year with the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Hail in from Rice University in Houston. First pitch from McDermott, fastball over the inner part of the plate for strike one.
And that's the type of pitch that he's going to want to throw more of, setting the hitter up with a strike one fastball.
McDermott looking into the catcher Schuler, now kicks and delivers. Fastball fouled away over the Harbor Hawks dugout and out of play. McDermott quickly ahead, 0-2. McDermott working quickly through the windup, kicks in the 0-2. Fastball blew it right past him for strike three. 2 up and 2 down for the Harbor Hawks. McDermott off to a pretty good start so far.
Yeah, he doesn't look very nervous. That was a terrific pitch there. It started with the strike one fastball, was able to just follow his script that he likes to do, and was able to really mow him down. It's interesting watching McDermott's windup, getting to see it in person. There's a real hitch in there. Reminds me of kind of a Johnny Cueto-esque hitch in the windup where he almost comes to a complete stop, not quite. Could be tough for the hitters to adjust to, I think.
And that'll bring up the only right-handed hitter in the Harbor Hawks lineup tonight, Tyler Frank, who looks at a first pitch fastball that misses outside for ball one. Frank, the second baseman out of Florida Atlantic University, listed at 6'1", 190 pounds, so about the same size as McDermott, who works through the windup, kicks in the 1-0. Fastball hit high in the air to left field. Moving to his left is Darius Hill. He camps out underneath it, battling the sun a bit, but puts it away for out number 3. So 1, 2, 3 go the Harbor Hawks, and after one full in Hyannis, still no score here at McKeon Park. Keep it right here. You're locked in to Whitecaps baseball. After a very quick first inning, we're back here in Hyannis where the right fielder for the Brewster Whitecaps, Chandler Taylor, digs in against the right-handed pitching Kevin Coulter of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Taylor, what a member of the Crimson Tide baseball team from the University of Alabama. Big lefty with power. Hits the first pitch he sees, chopped towards second, and under the glove of Frank and into right center field. Taylor with a big turnaround first base, but he'll stay right there. And so the leadoff man aboard for the Whitecaps, probably going to be an E4, if I do say so myself.
You know, it's funny, we saw a very similar play when Frank fielded the first batter of the game. When Troy Dixon rolled it that way, it was a similar ground ball, and that time it took maybe a bit of a funnier hop, maybe thinking about throwing the baseball before he was able to collect it. But it headed under the glove by a pretty significant margin there. And like you said, leadoff man aboard, those guys are always tough for the pitcher that gives them up.
Coulter working from the stretch now, throws over to first where Taylor dives back safely.
Taylor does have some speed to him, 7 out of 11 with the Crimson Tide this past year.
Coulter comes set, looking into his catcher Proctor, and his first pitch to Darius Hill, a fastball in at the knees for strike 1. Hill, a left-handed hitting outfielder from the University of West Virginia, originally from Dallas, Texas, where he attended Dallas Jesuit High School, and he ropes this one towards center field, but moving to his right is Frank, and he puts it away. That one looped a little bit into shallow center, but put away for out number 1.
And that was a nice play there from Frank, so a mixed bag for him in terms of his fielding day. Tough to deal with, especially with the sun that is not visible to us where we're situated behind home plate, but still is very much in the view of the players. And even with that sort of thing, a looper right at you, the sun can be a factor where it's setting pretty much right behind home plate here in Hyannis.
And that'll bring up Pete Schuler, left-handed hitting catcher from Kent State. Coulter comes set, kicks and deals. First pitch swinging, fouls it straight back into the net. Ball Taylor hit was indeed ruled an error, Carter. So Taylor aboard via the E4. Darius Hill lines out to the second baseman, and now Pete Schuler up with a man aboard and 1 away. Coulter comes set, runner goes. They haven't picked off, but the throw gets away from the first baseman Murphy, so Taylor's aboard, or gets into second safely, and is now able to move over to third. And so just like that, the Whitecaps have a man at third base in scoring position.
And that's scored an error as well. So Chandler Taylor is getting some benefits here. If I were scoring this, I think that he was going to make it to second regardless. I mean, that was almost a delayed steal. He got such a great jump, and they didn't notice it. He was halfway between first and second before they even made the pickoff throw to first. I think he would have slid in safely.
I say Coulter was very late getting the ball over to first base, and the throw just got away from Murphy. My dad always taught me that you have to catch the ball before you start throwing it, and it seemed like Murphy, realizing that Taylor was so far ahead, got a little bit ahead of himself and didn't even catch the ball, which allowed Taylor to get to third. Now the pitch to Schuler misses high and outside.
So that, how I'm scoring it, I'm not sure exactly what the official notion is just yet, but I would score that as a stolen base and then an E1 to move to third.
And that's exactly how they did it.
Great. Glad to hear it.
So the 1-1 count to Schuler. This one hit in the air deep to left field. Moving to his right is Robinson towards the foul pole. He catches it in the shade, but it's well deep enough for Chandler Taylor to come in to score, and the Whitecaps take a 1-0 lead here in the top of the second.
And if you're Coulter on the mound, this is a run, but you're just going to have to shake off. It's a tough one to give up when you have an error to get the runner on base, and then you yourself make a mistake to allow him to move to third and come in on an out. You just have to kind of put it behind you and approach the rest of these hitters, get out of this inning. Still a lot of baseball left.
That'll bring up the number 8 hitter Chris Given, shortstop out of Xavier University. So a righty-righty matchup here as Coulter kicks and deals. Breaking ball misses outside for ball 1. The 1-0 from Coulter. Another breaking ball catches the inside corner, and the count evens 1 ball and 1 strike.
Be interesting to see how much he throws in that off-speed stuff later in this game.
This one chopped weakly towards second. Charging is Frank. Fields and throws on to first in time for the 3rd out of the inning. But the Whitecaps get a run. Comes on a Pete Schuler sacrifice fly to left field. 1 run on no hits, 2 errors. Nobody left on base after 1.5 here at McKeon Park. Brewster on top of Hyannis, 1-0. It'll be 4, 5, and 6 due up for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks here in the bottom of the second. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to McKeon Park in Hyannis. I'm Aidan Doyle alongside Carter Woodeel. J.R. McDermott, after a 1-2-3 first, back on the mound for the Whitecaps. His first pitch, a fastball over the outside corner to Brendan Donovan for strike 1. Whitecaps lead 1-0 after a Pete Schuler sacrifice fly to left field. And the 0-1 pitch from McDermott, breaking ball, misses in the dirt. Count evens 1 ball and 1 strike. Donovan, a left-handed hitting designated hitter tonight out of the University of South Alabama. And a fastball from McDermott fouled away over the Harbor Hawks dugout. Count moves to 1-2.
I think the more we're seeing from McDermott tonight, the more we're realizing why he deserves a spot on the mound. He's very poised and has good command of his pitches.
1-2 from McDermott. Breaking ball misses downstairs. Count evens 2 balls and 2 strikes. But even that, with what they would call a good miss. You know, trying to get the hitter to chase one out of the zone. And now McDermott working quickly through the windup. His 2-2 fastball misses outside. Now the count runs full. McDermott looking into Schuler, now through the windup and the payoff pitch. Fastball high, but fouled away by Donovan, and the count remains full. McDermott this year, like we mentioned, 100 strikeouts for the Mavericks in just 83 2/3 innings. As this one's hit on the ground towards second, fielded by Dixon, throw on to first in plenty of time for out number 1.
Dixon, you could see, made a point of when he was scooping that ball up to bring it up toward his chest. He doesn't want he doesn't want us to see another E4 here in this ballpark tonight. It's something interesting. We were talking about it a little bit last night as well, about how field surfacing is a point of emphasis for the Cape Cod League's administration this year, and certainly I think the field surfaces. The improvements that they've made, you can see them in action, but it's still, the fact of life here is they're playing on high school diamonds like this one here in Hyannis, and sometimes those hops are going to be tricky, so infielders are going to have to stay poised.
Now the number 5 hitter, Robert Newstrom, steps in and looks at an off-speed pitch high and outside for ball 1. We have seen several errors thus far, last night at Eldridge Park in Orleans, and even so far in just an inning and a half here at McKeon Park in Hyannis. 1-0 from McDermott. Fastball blew it right past Newstrom. Count evens 1 ball and 1 strike.
And I think some of that might be due to team chemistry, communication on the field. Like if there's a pop fly, where do you go? If the second baseman is coming out and the center fielder's coming in, who's going to grab it? That sort of thing. But a lot of it is just the new conditions.
And the pitch from McDermott. Fastball catches the outer edge. Count moves to 1-2. McDermott thus far doing a very good job getting ahead in the count, pitching ahead of the hitter. And it's led to a perfect 4 outs so far. This one roped down the right field line, and that one drops foul. Good piece of it, but just out in front of it, and so Newstrom stays alive.
Plenty of foul ground out there in right field here at McKeon Park for that ball to land, and that was, maybe just 2 or 3 feet. Really was tailing. That started out pretty well in fair territory, at least from our vantage point.
Pitch was down and in. Newstrom went down and got it, ripped it down the right field line, but like you mentioned, just hooking foul. McDermott from the windup kicks in the 1-2. Breaking ball cut on and missed. McDermott picks up his second strikeout of the night, this time via the breaking ball, and that'll bring up the number 6 hitter, Micah Coffey.
Boy, and that curveball, he says he mixes it in against righties, but that looked like a bona fide out pitch there when he was able to deliver that. Had Newstrom fooled.
Say he throws 2 different types of breaking balls, the slider and the curve. The curve more of a 12-6. That was a much more vertical break rather than coming across the zone. Like I mentioned, Micah Coffey now stepping in for the Harbor Hawks. Left-handed hitting third baseman. First pitch swinging, fouls it off over the Harbor Hawks dugout and out of play. So once again, McDermott pitching from ahead.
And even if he hadn't taken a hack at that one, that would have probably been a strike at the knees, right where he was looking for it.
Coffey, hailing from the University of Minnesota, listed at 6'1", 200 pounds, and McDermott's 0-1. Fastball in at the knees, and he's quickly ahead 0-2. About the same place as the one that Coffey fouled off, right there at the bottom of the zone. Great pitch there from McDermott. And McDermott working through the windup, kicks and the 0-2. This one lined into center field, charging is Hill, but it'll fall in front of him, so the Harbor Hawks have their first hit of the evening, and it comes off the bat of Micah Coffey. And with 2 away, the Harbor Hawks have a man aboard here in the bottom of the second.
That was a good job, just kind of reaching out and meeting that baseball and being able to just lift it out into left field. That's something you got to do when a guy like McDermott seems to have some really good stuff so far in this game. You just have to kind of meet it where it's at and get on base. That was a good piece of hitting there from Coffey.
We've seen that a few times. The left-handed or even right-handed hitters taking that outside pitch, shooting it the other way, not trying to do too much with it. I know we talked about this last night as Daniel Robinson, left fielder tonight for Hyannis, steps in and looks at a first pitch breaking ball for McDermott that misses down and in for ball 1.
And there's a reason these guys are on the Cape. I mean, the people that wind up getting the invites for these prestigious teams, they know the little things like that. It's what helps them get the extra hits.
McDermott looks at first, now comes set and deals a 1-0 fastball that misses inside. So Robinson ahead in the count, 2 balls, no strikes. McDermott shaking off Schuler. Now gets what he wants, looks over towards first, comes set and deals. This one chopped towards second, moving to his right is Dixon. He'll take the easy out as he flips to the covering given at second for out number 3. Well, the Harbor Hawks pick up their first hit, but it does not result in anything. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, 1 man left on. After 2 full here at Hyannis, Brewster still on top of Hyannis by a score of 1-0. Keep it right here. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball. Welcome back to McKeon Park in Hyannis, where the Whitecaps have a 1-0 lead over the Hyannis Harborhawks. And Carter, you just about summed it up there in that break. I know none of our listeners heard it, but I heard it.
Well, it's just if you don't like what we're watching here, if you don't like baseball, we got the sun setting behind us, casting a glow over the whole diamond. You got a gorgeous weather. The temperature's perfect. I can't see a cloud in the sky from where I'm sitting. And a close baseball game with the Whitecaps up 1-0.
Just a beautiful night here on the Cape as the Whitecaps number 9 hitter Christian Molfetta steps in, third baseman out of Stanford University in Palo Alto, California. And the first pitch from Coulter hit on the ground towards second, sounded like he broke his bat, fielded by Frank, throw on to first in time as Molfetta hustles down the line.
Yeah, it definitely looked like that. I'm with you that may have taken some power off of that bat. I mean, not be seeing that bat again. But another soft ground ball. We've seen a lot of dribblers so far in this game from both teams.
And as a former Whitecaps bat boy, I can tell you there is nothing like the competition of amongst the bat boys to get the broken bats.
Oh, really?
Some of the players keep them, but if you can get a broken bat, you treasure it. Some of my friends have ones from Troy Tulowitzki, Yonder Alonso. Troy Dixon shows bunt on a first pitch breaking ball from Coulter.
Reminds me of Mariano Rivera, the Yankee great, who always got at so many broken bats, and the Twins gave him a gift of a chair.
I believe it was the Twins, right?
Made out of broken bats, so that would have been the ultimate prize for you in your bat boy days, right?
Exactly. Coulter through the windup and blows one right past Dixon, who's ahead in the count, Coulter ahead in the count 0-2. Coulter looking into his catcher, Chris Proctor, gets what he wants, kicks and the 0-2. Fastball cuts right back over the plate, and Dixon down looking, and a quick 2 outs for the Harborhawks here in the third.
Boy, that was right on the inside corner, right at the knees there for Troy Dixon. That's a tough pitch because if you swing at it, there's not a ton you can do with that pitch.
Probably another broken bat.
Right.
And that'll bring up Steele Walker out of the University of Oklahoma. 0 for 1 tonight, struck out swinging in his Whitecaps debut. Left-handed hitting center fielder tonight for Brewster. First pitch swinging, fouls one off over the third base dugout, out of play. Mickey Gasper waits on deck. He picked up the first hit tonight for Brewster. A single back in the first and was gunned down at home after a Michael Curry double to end the first inning. 0-1 from Coulter, blows a fastball right past Walker, and Coulter quickly head 0-2. Both of these pitchers working quickly tonight as Coulter deals, and Walker hits one softly towards short, fielded by Proctor, throwing to first in time for out number 3. 1-2-3 go the Whitecaps in the third. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base after 2.5 in Hyannis. Whitecaps still on top of the Harborhawks, 1-0. Keep it right here. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball. It'll be 8, 9, and 1 due up for the Harborhawks in the bottom of the third inning. Welcome back to McKeon Park, everyone. Aidan Doyle alongside Carter Woodiel. Cole Murphy leading things off for the Harborhawks. And J.R. McDermott still on the mound for Brewster. He's worked 2 scoreless thus far, giving up just 1 hit. And a first pitch fastball misses off the plate outside for ball 1.
One of the few times that he has not thrown strike 1 tonight has McDermott.
McDermott working through the windup, kicks and the 1-0. Hit high in the air towards left center field. Charging in is Walker, moving over his hill. and it'll be Walker who calls off Hill for out number 1.
That's one of those team chemistry plays I was talking about earlier. Walker just flew in last night. I mean, he's playing the outfield with the guy he's known for less than 24 hours, and that's the situation where you got to just know, you got to stick to your guns and make your call, and that's what Walker did.
Yeah, the only time they've seen each other is playing against each other. 2 Big 12 schools,
That's
West
right.
Virginia and Oklahoma. Seems like, still don't think of West Virginia, though, as a Big 12 school.
Right,
Having
it's
just recently moved there.
Especially if you're a basketball fan.
Yeah, exactly. McDermott looking into looking into Pete Schuler. Chris Proctor, the Harbor Hawks catcher, up at the plate and sees a first pitch fastball over the inner half for strike 1. Proctor, a left-handed hitting catcher out of Duke University in Durham, North Carolina, one of the Blue Devils, as McDermott kicks and delivers. Off-speed pitch misses high and outside for ball 1.
It was interesting. Proctor, after that first pitch called a strike at Beniz, made sure to chat with the home plate ump, saying, okay, that's going to be a strike, because when you're a catcher, you got to make sure you know that sort of thing, and not, you want to make sure you stay in the umpire's good graces.
McDermott through the windup and the 1-1. Fastball skips home for ball 2. Proctor listed at 6'1", 180 pounds. Originally from Lawndale, North Carolina. Decided to stay in-state and, like I mentioned, play his collegiate ball at Duke. McDermott's 2-1. Fastball just misses inside for ball 3. Tried to go right back there to the low strike that he got for strike 1, but missed a little bit in. It was right there at the knees, though. McDermott through the windup and the 3-1. Skied in the air down the left field line, but out of play, and the count runs full.
Yeah, I think if there's one thing that you can critique McDermott's outing so far, the fastball isn't going to blow any hitters away. I think the four-seamer, but he's got good stuff with the curveball and that changeup. If he can throw the fastball for strikes to start the at-bat, then he's golden from there.
Payoff pitch from McDermott. Fastball lined in the left field. Going back is Hill. Looks like he has a read on it, and he's there to put it away for out number 2. McDermott doing a very good job commanding that fastball, though, in my opinion, keeping it low at the knees. He's gotten that low strike several times. Like you mentioned, he's not going to blow anyone away with it, so then relies on the location, changing speeds, changing eye levels to get these hitters out.
And that's something that a lot of college pitchers rely on it, but it's very important for him because if you don't have that blow-away fastball and you're not able to throw strike 1, that limits your options later in the at-bat.
Leadoff hitter Reese Hampton steps in for the Harbor Hawks and looks at a first pitch fastball for ball 1.
So now he's behind the count 1-0. Where does he go here? Does he give away his curve or his change? Does he throw another fastball?
And we're about to find out as McDermott deals. Fastball hit on the ground towards short, fielded by Given. Throw on to first in time to get the speedy Hampton for out number 3. Well, they hit a couple balls hard, but down go the Harbor Hawks in order 1, 2, 3. No runs on no hits, no errors. Nobody left on base. We've played 3 full here in Hyannis. Whitecaps still on top of the Harbor Hawks by a score of 1-0.
Welcome back to McKeon Park here where the Whitecaps are clinging to a 1-0 lead as we get ready to begin the fourth inning of play. It'll be Gasper, Curry, and Taylor up for Brewster. Those are the 3, 4, and 5 hitters for the Whitecaps as Gasper stands in, digging in from the left side, the switch hitter, batting lefty against the right-handed pitcher Kevin Coulter, who's getting ready to start his fourth inning of work, and the first pitch from the righty is low. Below the knees, almost in the dirt there to Gasper. Gasper, his first time up, got on via a single and then was tagged out at the plate off of a terrific relay throw that was started by Robinson out in left field. The pitch is another one low in the dirt. Same pitch as before, maybe trying to get him to chase or something, but Gasper lays it off and he's quickly ahead in the count 0-2. Gasper out of Bryant University. The pitch to the lefty. That's a fastball up high above the letters. Gasper showing pretty good plate discipline right here. All three of those pitches weren't particularly close to the zone, but they're the sort of thing that a hitter, especially a power hitter like Gasper, could be tempted to go after. The 3-0 pitch is right down Broadway for strike number 1. On the count 3-1 as Kevin Coulter, the Mercer product, is working quickly here. Brewster got their run in the second inning off of a couple of errors as the righty deals. Fastball in there for a strike. Chandler Taylor reached after the second baseman Frank saw a baseball go right under his glove for an E4, then stole second and moved over to third on a wild throw. As that's in there, strike 3 called on Mickey Gasper. Another fastball there, so he shows good discipline at the beginning of the at-bat, but then his patience maybe costs him there. Doesn't swing in the at-bat, takes 6 pitches, and 3 of them were for strikes. That's strikeout number 3 on the evening for Coulter.
Very reminiscent of the strikeout looking that Troy Dixon had for the second out in the top of the third. That two-seam fastball that Coulter throws broke right over the inner half of the plate. Started off looking a bit inside, but like I mentioned, broke right over the inner half, and Gasper down looking.
So now it's Michael Curry's turn. The pitch to the righty is Swan, hit hard on the ground to third. Nice field over there by Coffey at third base. He throws across in time for the out. So a 1 pitch out there for Curry. He is now 1 for 2 on the day. Score that 5-3, and there are 2 gone.
He's 1 for 2, and he's seen 2 pitches. First at bat, Curry roped a ball out towards left field, and that was the play that Mickey Gasper was gunned down at the plate on, but really just absolutely crushed it out towards left field. Got all the way to the wall over the head of the left fielder Robinson, and there tried to jump on the first pitch again and hit it right towards the third baseman Coffey.
Here comes the lefty Chandler Taylor. Really 3 power bats due up in this inning for Brewster. Taylor takes his fastball in there for a strike on the inside corner. Taylor really well suited to this ballpark. He's a lefty with power, and right field at this stadium is short. Pitch to him is up high on the fastball, so the count is even 1 ball and 1 strike. Whitecaps leading 1-0 here in the top of the 4th inning. The pitch is a breaking ball low in the dirt, and it drops away and heads back to the backstop. The count is now 1-2. As the lefty Chandler Taylor out of the University of Alabama stands in. Here's the pitch. Swinging a ground ball, a high chopper toward the right side, fielded by the first baseman Murphy. He flips over to the covering Coulter to retire the side. So a 1-2-3 inning for the Whitecaps. They haven't reached base since that error in the second inning brought Taylor aboard. We're through 3.5 innings of play. Whitecaps lead 1-0. You are listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Back at McKeon Park, where Brewster leads Hyannis by a score of 1-0. Let's take a look around the league here. Aiden, what's happening?
Well, after scoring 5 runs yesterday in their 5-3 victory over the Bourne Braves, Katuitt off to another great offensive start. They're up 6-0 on the Falmouth Commodores in the bottom of the 4th inning. That game at Lowell Park in Katuitt. YD, the 3-time defending champions, up 4-2 on the Orleans Firebirds, who the Whitecaps defeated last night 6-1. That game at Red Wilson Fields in the bottom of the 6th inning. Chatham and Bourne still knotted at 0 in the top of the 3rd. Obviously here in Hyannis, Brewster up 1-0 on the Harbor Hawks. And at White House Field in Harwich, Wareham and Harwich still scoreless 0-0. That game early on in the bottom of the 1st inning.
All right, thank you, Aiden. YD always playing with a target on their back all season. It's been that way for a few years now, almost an annual tradition. J.R. McDermott is back on the mound, and he deals a pitch just below the knees to the 2-hitter for Hyannis, Ford Proctor. Proctor swung and missed at a fastball for strike 3 his first time up. So far, McDermott has looked excellent on the mound for Brewster. Here comes the pitch, and it's high. The count is 2-0. Bit of a tight plate being called behind the dish right now tonight. Last night when we were in Orleans, the low strike was getting called. Tonight, it's not quite as favorable towards the hurlers. 2-0 pitch. That's in there for a called strike. That was up at the letters 2, and the count is 2-1. So far for McDermott on this outing, getting ready to start his 4th inning of work here underway here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Just the 1 hit allowed. The pitch just below the knees for ball 3. It's 3-1 now on Proctor. If you weren't with us at the pregame show, talked a little bit about how important this start is for McDermott personally. With so much roster turnover, it's kind of a tryout for him as a temp guy out of a Division II school. The pitch is swung and hit high, but foul toward the left side. It'll make the seats after a half-hearted look there from Schuler behind the plate for Brewster. So that runs the count full now to Ford Proctor. Proctor out of Rice University, hails from Beaumont, Texas, out of Rice. The pitch from the righty is hit high in the air out to left field. Hill is going to stay right where he is. It's out to straightaway left, and he makes the grab. Barely had to move a muscle, and that's out number 1 of the bottom of the 4th.
Oh, Proctor got a good piece of it, but another good pitch from McDermott. Really hitting the outside corner there. Proctor, left-handed hitter, looking for one to drive out to the short porch and right. Instead, goes the other way with that fastball, shoots it out towards left. And now, one thing to watch as this game progresses, the shadows out in left field, moving across the field. Darius Hill in left, entirely in darkness out there. He's the only player who isn't in the sun right now, so he might be getting a little chilly out there.
The 3-hitter, Tyler Frank, standing in from the right side. You're right, that's something unusual here that you see on McCabe. Usually the press box is the first thing to catch the sun, not here. The pitch to Frank is a fastball that misses inside and down, and the count is 1-0. So 2 hitters in this inning, and McDermott unable to get the first pitch strike to either of the batters. Tyler Frank flew out to left field his first time up. That finished the 1st inning. The righty McDermott deals 1-0. The pitch, checked his swing, but it's low. And the count is 2-0. Fastball command not quite where it was in the earlier 3 innings right here for McDermott, but he has had a terrific game so far. Micah Coffey had a single in the 2nd, and he's retired every other hitter. The Whitecaps lead 1-0 here in the bottom of the 4th inning. The righty deals. The pitch is swung and hit right to the shortstop, Given, who makes the grab for out number 2. Given, again, didn't really have to move, just like Hill out there in left field with the last hitter. A nice, easy looper, and he makes the grab.
He didn't have to move an inch. All he had to do was bring the glove up from below his waist all the way up right about towards where the letters are, and it came right to him. Didn't even have to move an inch.
Now it's Brendan Donovan digging in from the left side, the infielder out of South Alabama, starting at the DH position for Hyannis tonight. The pitch is swung on and fouled off. Just got a piece of a ball that was headed for the dirt. Was fooled on that one, and the count is 0-1 quickly on Donovan. Donovan, the rising junior out of Enterprise, Alabama, originally born in Wurzburg, Germany. Pitch to the lefty. Swing and a miss out in front of that curveball. An affirmative nod there from Schuler behind the plate to his hurler McDermott. That pitch was right where it ought to be. And the count is 0-2 quickly now on Donovan, who grounded out his first time. Here comes the 0-2 pitch to the lefty. Swing and a miss. He got him. A dominant at bat there for McDermott, and he sends down the Harbor Hawks in order. McDermott has retired 7 batters on the string for Brewster. We are through 4. Whitecaps lead 1-0. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. back at McKeon Park, where Brewster is hanging on to a 1-0 lead. We're getting ready to start the top of the 5th inning. Due up for Brewster, it's Darius Hill, Pete Schuler, and the shortstop Chris Given. Those are the 6, 7, and 8 hitters for Jamie Shevchik's team. And the lefty, Darius Hill, digs in and swings it, hits it high in the air to left field. Robinson moving to his right toward the line. He makes the grab a few steps from the foul line, and there is out number 1.
Well, the Whitecaps being a very aggressive team up at the plate tonight, a little bit different than what we saw last night in Orleans. Last night, a much more patient approach a few times tonight, whether it be Troy Dixon, Michael Curry, and now Darius Hill jumping on that first pitch, trying to get one to drive. Coulter with good off-speed stuff. Don't let him get ahead in the count. They're trying to jump on a first pitch fastball.
As the pitch to Pete Schuler is a fastball for a called strike at the knees. That was a nicely located pitch there from Coulter. And Coulter, for his part, he's given up to just the 1 unearned run and a couple of hits, but has a solid outing for him as well. The pitch is swung on and missed. And the count is quickly now 0-2, and Schuler has fallen into a hole early on. The catcher by trade, he is behind the plate for the Whitecaps tonight. And the pitch to him is swung hit hard into center field, and it's going to drop in for a base hit in front of Hampton out there. Schuler reaches with a single. Just the 3rd Whitecap hit of the evening, and with 1 on and a 1-0 lead, the Whitecaps have a runner on first.
Well, an interesting fact about Pete Schuler, he says he's actually creeped out by clowns. So I wonder if, I mean, a lot of people are creeped out by clowns, but I wonder when the pitcher's coming in if he pictures a clown's face on the ball, because he drove that one out there. Hey, whatever works for you, man, but Pete Schuler, that was a good piece of hitting out towards center field. And again, like you mentioned, the first base runner for the Whitecaps since the 2nd inning.
Here's the Whitecap shortstop, Chris. He takes a pitch in the dirt. It squirts away from the catcher, Proctor, and advancing to second base on a wild pitch is Schuler. So the Whitecaps have a runner in scoring position now with 1 man out. That's a big wild pitch. Really changes the way this inning can go because now the double play is taken away.
Now puts a runner in scoring position. Like you mentioned, the double play out of order. Chris Given looking for his first hit as a member of the Whitecaps this season.
Was able to see some as he digs in. Here's the pitch to the right. It's low on a fastball. Count is now 2 on Given as the wild pitch was in there for ball 1. Given out of Xavier University, a rising sophomore from Castle Rock, Colorado. Graduate of Rock Canyon High School. You'll find a lot of things in Colorado are named after rocks. Run a second base, 1 out. The pitch, nicely located fastball on the outside corner for strike 1. That was a pitch that needed there to get this count working back the way he wants it. The count's now 2-1. Whitecaps ahead 1-0.
You mentioned Castle Rock, Colorado, Rock Canyon High School. You're from New Jersey. Isn't there a Rockwood, New Jersey?
I'm not sure. The pitch to the righty is outside on an off-speed pitch. 3-1 now. Ahead in the count is Given. I can't remember anything like that.
Anything named after rocks in New Jersey? Anything? Come on, this is your state, Carter. You got to know this.
Not a lot of rocks. Not as many rocks in Jersey as Colorado.
Very true.
Runner on second, 1 out. Pitch to Given. Swung on and grounded. That one whacked off of his side, and so it's a foul ball as it skipped over up against the belt buckle of, or up against the belt of Given. Given on his day, he grounded out to second base his first time, so he's 0 for 1, taking his hacks again. One of a few Xavier players around the Cape Cod League this season. Xavier out of the Big East, won the Big East tournament for automatic qualification into the NCAAs just about a month ago. Whitecaps ahead 1-0, runner on second. The pitch is hit high in the air toward the right side, heading toward foul ground. Calling everybody off is the second baseman, Frank, and he makes the grab. And there is out number 2 of the top of the 5th.
Well, that was another one where it's good to see these players taking charge early in the season. Even for Hyannis, we've seen so many defensive miscues thus far in the first game and a half of the season. There, Frank battling the sun as he moved into shallow right field, calling off the first baseman Murphy. Newstrom wasn't going to get there in time. Frank, recognizing that, takes charge and puts it away for out number 2.
So now it's Malfetta's turn. As you mentioned earlier in the game, Aiden did come in for a cup of coffee in last night's game, had a pinch hitting appearance, and he struck out looking in the 9th inning. Runner on second base here, and they will spin around as Coulter does not wind up throwing because there was nobody covering there. That wouldn't have been a good outcome, but he does send him diving back to the bag. Pete Schuler is the runner on first. He got there via a hard hit single and then moved to second base on a wild pitch. Whitecaps got one unearned run, benefited of a couple of Harbor Hawks errors in the second. That's the only run of the game. The pitch to the righty is taken for a strike. Malfetta now behind in the count 0-1 on a nicely located fastball. Strike one is important to both of these players, I think, to both of the pitchers that we have in this game. McDermott for the Whitecaps and Coulter, who's on the mound right now, the Mercer product for the Harbor Hawks. He's got a slider and a change that he can work to get swings and misses, but he's got to throw strike one to get to him.
Yeah, both of these pitchers, their primary pitches, their go-tos are off-speed pitches. Neither one of them has a blow-away fastball. None of them are out here touching the high 90s or anything like that. So they have to set those pitches up with good location on the first pitch fastball or second pitch fastball. Then that sets up their go-to put-away breaking ball.
Pitch from the righty is hit high in the air, tailing toward foul ground and getting foul on the right side over everything, over the dugout, landing in the grass out there. So behind him, a count now 0-2 is the Stanford product, Christian Malfetta. The shadows now are basically bisecting the outfield. The center fielder, Hampton, is in sun, but perhaps not for long. But both the pitcher and the hitter right now have not been consumed by the shadows just yet. The pitch to Malfetta. Check swing on a pitch in the dirt. Did he go? They check at first base, and he did go. So Malfetta goes down on strikes, 0 for 3 on his Whitecaps career so far, and that is the end of the inning for the Whitecaps. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 left for Brewster in the top of the 5th. We're through 4.5, 1-0 Whitecaps. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. J.R. McDermott has retired 7 hitters in a row, and all but one of the hitters that he's faced in 4 innings of work. And he's coming on to begin the bottom of the 5th. He's got a 1-0 lead ahead of him. Been a good day to be a pitcher. No earned runs have scored in this game. The only Whitecaps run, Chandler Taylor scored. He reached via an error, moved to third via an error, and then wound up scoring on a sacrifice fly from Pete Schuler. That's the only run of the game. You're caught up here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Robert Newstrom is the leadoff hitter for Hyannis. He takes a pitch low on an off-speed pitch. Newstrom coming off a good night last night on opening night, a 2 for 4 evening for him with a run scored and a 3-0 victory for Hyannis. Both of these teams 1-0. The righty deals a fastball in there for a strike to even the count at 1-1. Newstrom, rising junior out of Sioux City, Iowa, was pretty close to Omaha in the College World Series. He's been there a few times. Not as a player yet. The pitch to the Iowa product is taken low and away to the left-hander, and the count is 2-1.
Decided to stay in state for his college ball, attending the University of Iowa, so a member of the baseball team.
Here comes the 2-1 pitch from McDermott. It bounces in front of the plate, and the count is 3-1 now on Newstrom. Newstrom had a great season. Guys hit .310 with a .358 on base percentage, 9 home runs. A Cinderella group that won the big tournament on what was a very wet weekend in Bloomington, Indiana. The tournament was held. Hawkeye is able to get the win in the final. The pitch to the lefty. This one hit high in the air out to right. Heading back is the right fielder Taylor, and he comes in now a bit and makes the grab for out number one. Anytime the ball goes that to right field in this ballpark, you're on your breath if you're a pitcher, but just come down with it.
Yeah, it seemed to be well hit and get attention. A great height on that fly ball, but seemed like McDermott jammed him a little bit. Newstrom didn't hit on the sweet spot, a little bit closer in on the hands, and again, stayed in the ballpark. Taylor didn't even have to get back towards the warning track, but again, off the bat, your immediate reaction is, wow, that was a well-hit ball.
Micah digging in from the left. Pitch to him is a fastball in there for strike one. We've seen a bunch of those from J.R. McDermott so far in this game. The command of the ball hasn't been perfect, but has been pretty darn good, and that's, I think, one of the big reasons why he's retired 8 in a row. The pitch is a fastball up high. As I say that one slipped out of his hand a little bit. He rubs his hand against his uniform pant before receiving the baseball again. Count ball and 1 strike to Coffey, who has the only hit of the game for the Harbor Hawks, a single. Swing and a miss out in front of that breaking pitch there, a slider down. That is 1-2.
Good pitch there from McDermott, breaking down and into Coffey, getting ahead 1-2, catching him off guard. Looked like Coffey was expecting a fastball there.
And the pitch to the lefty, that bounces in the dirt. And the count now 2. Coffey, as you mentioned, just the only hit for the Harbor Hawks. They trail Brewster 1-0 here in the bottom of inning number 5. Pitch to Coffey, swing and a hard line drive to center field, but right there for it is Walker. No, it drops in front of him. He plays it on a hop, and Coffey will advance to first base. He's got a 2-for-2 night, and nobody else on his team has a hit there, as Walker just couldn't quite reach that baseball. There's a runner on with 1 out.
Well, off the bat, it looked like a ball that Walker might have a chance at getting to, but I understand the decision. If you try and dive for that ball, it gets past you. It's just a 1-0 lead thus far for the Whitecaps. You don't want to let a single turn into a double or a triple, or whatever it may be, out in that left center field area, because that's pretty deep out there here at McKeon Park. Play it on a hop, play it safe.
They check the runner at first. Yeah, Walker is a player who is always very loose on the baseball diamond and handled that accordingly. So, he kind of, it looked like he was just camping under it, but said, no, I'm just going to play this on a hop, fired it in. Runner on first base, and 1 out. Digging in is the lefty Daniel Robinson, and he takes a pitch in there for a strike on the inside corner. Robinson attending ASA College, according to the listing. That's a for-profit university. They've got campuses in New York and Miami, and their mascot is the Avengers. So if you're a Marvel fan, maybe that's the school that you should be pulling for. The pitch is a slow breaking ball that looks like it went around the strike zone. It's called high, and the count is 1-1.
Now I wonder what their logo is, being the Avengers. Is it?
It's not. It does not involve Marvel characters.
I was going to say, do they have just all the Avengers?
I don't want to spoil anything for
there?
anybody, but there's no Iron Man, no Captain America on the logo. The pitch to the lefty is just a bit outside. That one was very close, and the count is 2-1. As Robinson now chats with the home plate umpire. Ready and staring in is McDermott. He's ready to go, working quickly. Whitecaps ahead 1-0. Bottom of the 5th inning, runner on first base, Coffey, with 1 out. The pitch to the lefty, Swan hit hard right out the glove of the first baseman, Gasper, and it rolls into foul territory on the right side, and everybody's going to be safe. It's first and second on what I think should be a hit. That was a laser to first base that kicked off of the mitt of Gasper. He now looks at his mitt as he walks over past the foul line, and it's 2 on and 1 out. The best chance that the Harbor Hawks have gotten all game.
And not only was it hard hit off of the bat of Robinson, but Gasper over there at first base is looking directly into the sun. The sun obviously setting at this point, having it be 7:03 p.m. here on the East Coast, is just below or just above the third base dugout. So Gasper over there at first, looking right into it. That ball got on him in a hurry. Not an easy play in the first place. The sun only makes it even more difficult. And they do rule it a single.
Bit of a delay here, I think, that Chad Gassman is coming out with the lineup card for Hyannis. I think we're going to see a fresh face, a pinch hitter here against the righty J.R. McDermott, as they're sending him out here. It'll be first and second You're right, it was scored a single there. It's going to be Connor Stevens coming into pinch hit out of Land O'Lakes, Florida, the Jacksonville University product. He's a lefty hitter, standing at 5'11", 180. Big spot for him. The pitch to Stevens is down and in. Stevens is replacing Murphy in the 8th spot. So Cole Murphy's night is complete. He flew out to center his first time. Robinson at first base. Coffey at second. The Whitecaps lead 1-0. The pitch, swing and a miss, blew that one by him on the fastball. Haven't seen that too often from McDermott tonight.
I'd say it looked like McDermott just reached back, put a little bit extra on that one. Seemed to have a little bit more mustard than we usually see. And also a much lower leg kick. I like most pitchers when he's working out of the stretch, really barely gets it above the dirt.
Holding the set is McDermott, and he deals to the lefty. It's a fastball in there for a strike, and the count is 1-2 on Connor Stevens. As the lefty digs in, Stevens, a rising junior in 31 games this past season, hit just 200 right on the Mendoza line. Spent last summer in the Coastal Plain League with the Savannah Bananas down in Georgia. Holding the set again, taking a bit of more time here is McDermott, and the pitch is a fastball up and away. And the count is 2-2. I think everybody here recognizes that maybe runs are going to be at a premium in this game, and they're treating this at-bat accordingly. Very important moment here with the Whitecaps ahead 1-0, 2 on and 1 out in the bottom of the 5th for the Harbor Hawks. Holding the set and taking a deep breath is McDermott. Pitch is in there for strike 3 called. And can't believe it is Stevens. He shakes his head as he heads back to the dugout, but that fastball was placed perfectly in a very big strikeout for McDermott.
Big is an understatement, but if we had K-zone here, I bet you that pitch would have been right on the line, right over the black by McDermott. Great pitch, painted the outside corner, and could not have come in a bigger spot, like you mentioned.
That'll bring up Chris Proctor, the number 9 hitting catcher for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Flew out to left field his first time. This is a big spot. You want to take advantage of as many opportunities you can have with runners in scoring position in a ball game like this, which we'll probably see a lot of early on in the Cape League season. Righty deals. It's a breaking ball in there for a strike. That was one of those looping curveballs that McDermott has in his arsenal, and he just dropped it right down in the middle of the zone. Didn't look like Proctor was quite ready for that one. I wonder if Proctor as a catcher is thinking, well, that's a good call. First and second with 2 out now. The pitch from the righty is hit high in the air, foul ground to left field. It's going to get foul over the bleachers, and the children go a-running for it. And the count is 0-2 as McDermott is a strike away from getting out of this little jam. Trying to protect a 1-0 advantage here on a gorgeous evening for some baseball on McKeon Park in Hyannis, Massachusetts. Thank you so much for joining us. Carter Woodeel and Aiden Doyle here with you. Whitecaps and Harbor Hawks both 1-0. They won their opening night games last night. And stepping out of the box and asking for a little bit more time is Chris Proctor. Chris Proctor, one of 2 Proctors on this team, along with Ford Proctor, is also in the lineup, but there's no relation. Proctor, a Duke Blue Devil. And here comes the pitch to the lefty. It's down and in, and the count moves to 1-2. Proctor has a shaved head right now, but when he was playing at Duke, he was sporting a mullet. So a bit of a style change heading into the Cape season. Holding the set is McDermott. And the pitch is just high on the fastball. So 2-2 the count now. Good at bat here from Proctor. Taking his time, being patient. Not letting the gravity of the moment force him into swinging where he shouldn't. The righty McDermott holds the set. Checks the runner at second base and deals. Swan hit hard on the ground to third base. Fielded over there by Coffey. He throws across and makes the grab. Over to Gasper at first base. Nice play there by Malfetta at third. And that retires the side. Gasper gets out of the first little bit of adversity that he encountered in this ball game. No runs, 2 hits. They leave 2 runners on base. We're finished with 5 innings of play here in Hyannis. It's still 1-0 Brewster. You are listening to Whitecaps Baseball. Welcome back to McKeon Park, scoring a defensive change to let you know about. Remember, Stevens got subbed into the 8th spot for Murphy, and he has now been replaced in the lineup and at first base by Stallings. Stallings is out there for the Harbor Hawks, and he will be playing first base as the pitch is low. To start things off, to the Brewster Whitecaps leadoff hitter Troy Dixon. And the lefty takes a pitch high to move the count to 2-0. Kevin Coulter still on the mound for Hyannis, starting off his 6th inning of work here. Trailing in this game 1-0 are the Harbor Hawks. That one run that scored was unearned. It was aided by a couple of Hyannis errors, including one on Coulter himself. Dixon on his day is 0 for 2, grounded out to second base his first time and then struck out looking in the third, takes a pitch low, and he's quickly ahead in the count 3-0 here on Dixon. And the pitch to the lefty, that's a fastball in there for a strike, grooved that one in there on 3-0. Didn't look like Troy Dixon was looking for much there. And so the count is 3-1. Here comes the 3-1 pitch. It's a fastball high, and Dixon works a walk. And he is on base where he is always a threat to go. He's been aggressive on the base pass so far this season, this young season.
Exactly where I was going. Troy Dixon working the count there, getting the leadoff walk, and especially the leadoff walk, setting the table for guys like Walker, who's coming up now, Mickey Gasper, Michael Curry, the big bats in this Whitecaps lineup, having that speedy guy on the base pass. Heck, he could probably score on a single from first base with his speed.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing, those leadoff walks, they always seem to come back to bite you as they check the runner at first base. Diving back smoothly is Troy Dixon, who reaches via the walk. That'll bring up, as you said, Steele Walker. Walker is 0 for 2 in his Whitecap debut. Struck out in the first, grounded out to short in the 3rd inning as they check the runner again. I'm sure the Harbor Hawks fans that are at the ballpark tonight would love another one of those ground balls to short from Steele Walker here in a double play situation. And here comes the pitch to Walker, and it's low. Missed there with the off-speed stuff did Coulter. That one skidded in the dirt in front of the catcher, Chris Proctor. And so the count is 1-0. So this is a tough situation for a pitcher because you got to pay attention to a runner that is taking an aggressive lead in Dixon at first base, but also a very dangerous hitter. And there goes the runner for second. The pitch is a strike. The throw on to second base is not in time. Safe at second base is Troy Dixon. That one skipped a little bit in front of the glove of the shortstop Proctor, and he couldn't make the tag, so it's a runner in scoring position now for Brewster.
Well, not the best jump there by Dixon, but his just pure speed allowed him to make up for it. It was a close play at second. Proctor made an excellent throw, one hop into second base, but Dixon just too fast.
So it's Dixon standing on second base. Walker is now facing a 1-1 count, and the pitch is swung hit high in the air out to right field. Moving back is the right fielder Newstrom, and he makes the catch a couple of steps from the wall. Tagging and heading into third base is Dixon. Newstrom had to battle the sun out there in right field, but was able to come up with it. It's a 332-foot wall out there in the power alley, but it did not clear it, and Walker is 0 for 3.
Well, off the bat, I thought, wow, Steele Walker going yard in his first Cape League game, but no, the wind blowing across the field here. It has shifted a little bit from blowing out towards left to now kind of blowing from the right field foul pole across towards the left field foul pole. Wind knocked that one down a bit, but warning track power from Steele Walker. Good to see, though, as the game progresses, him, seeing the ball a little bit better, getting a little used to it, knocking the dust off and knocking the rust, dust, whatever you want to call it, off his shoulders. And I'm sure, good things to come here for the Brewster Whitecaps this summer on the Cape.
All right, and that will bring up Mickey Gasper, the 3-hitter for the Whitecaps. Bit of a delay here. There is action right now in the bullpen. The righty warming up for the Harbor Hawks here. One of those bullpens. They're down the line here at McKeon Ballpark. So far in this game for the Mercer product, Kevin Coulter, and looks like that might be all she wrote for Kevin Coulter as Chad Gassman is heading out to the mound. Couple pats on the rear end from his teammates, and heading to the dugout is Coulter. So his night is finished now after 5 1/3 innings of work. We will step aside, let you know about this new hurler for the Harbor Hawks when we return. You are listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. The new pitcher as we welcome you back to McKeon Park, where the Whitecaps still are holding on to a 1-0 lead here with 1 out in the top of the 6th inning. The new pitcher, Matthew Mervis. He's on the roster as an infielder out of Duke University, another Dookie. We've seen a few of them in this game. He was a two-way player last season for Duke. Made it into 4 games hitting and 21 of them pitching. So really more of a pitcher for Duke than a position player, but was listed by the Harbor Hawks as an infielder, though apparently looks like Chad Gassman is going to use him as a hurler coming on in an important situation. He's got a speedy runner in scoring position in Troy Dixon. He drew a leadoff walk and stole second. And then after getting Steele Walker to hit a deep fly ball to right field that was corralled out there in right, that was the end of the day for the starter, Kevin Coulter.
A good outing for Coulter, too. I mean, obviously he leaves trailing 1-0, but except for the one error he committed, really not his fault. I mean, limiting the damage, just 3 hits allowed, 4 strikeouts, really settled in after giving up that run and pitched a good ball game for the Harbor Hawks.
1-0 Brewster is the score, as the 3-hitter Mickey Gasper will dig in once again, but will face some pitches this time. The pitch is taken just a bit high, and the count is 1-0. Gasper singled in the first inning and was tagged out at home on a throw from left field and struck out in the 4th. The infield is in for the Harbor Hawks with Dixon on third base, was able to get over there on that deep fly ball from Steele Walker that was over toward the right field wall. The pitch is low to make the count 2-0 on Gasper. A switch hitter batting from the left side. Holding the set is Mervis, and the righty deals, swing and a miss. That was a breaking ball there down, and Gasper will take a second to walk out of the box there. Count is 2-1 now. I think Gasper might have thought he had one to drive, but it fell off the table. Mervis, a draft pick in 2016. He's a rising sophomore, drafted by the Nationals in the 39th round. He deals, it's hit high in the air to foul ground on the left side, down the left field line. It will make the hill out over there, over in that wetlands area. This ballpark was really carved out of a state of disrepair. It was opened back in 1935, but then it was abandoned for 20 years. They worked on it for 2 years in the 70s to get it playable again. There was a stream running through right field. They built up the press box, built the bleachers, and since the 70s, it's hosted Cape League baseball. Pitch to Gasper, Swan hit high in the air out to center field. On the run is Hampton. He's toward the wall. He's looking up, and he can't make the play. No, he does. He makes the catch, an over-the-shoulder catch from Hampton. Tagging and coming in to score on the play is Dixon. It's a loud sacrifice fly for Mickey Gasper. Another RBI for him on his young season. The Whitecaps double their lead. It's 2-0.
Well, that's about as long a ball as you're going to see here on the Cape that doesn't get out of a ballpark. One, obviously driven extremely well by Gasper, but what a play by Reese Hampton out in center field. When that came off the bat, it seemed like there was no shot he was catching that one. Reached with, you know, if his arm's 2 inches shorter, he doesn't get it. Unbelievable play.
The pitch is in there for a strike to the Whitecap cleanup hitter Michael Curry. The righty starts off his at-bat. Gasper now with 3 RBI on the season, had a 2-run homer in the Whitecaps 6-1 win last night. 2-0 Brewster now. The pitch is in there for a strike, a fastball at the knees, and quickly Curry is behind the count 0-2. Curry doubled. That was the play that saw Gasper get tagged out at home in the first inning and then grounded out to third base in the 4th. And the righty deals. It's a breaking ball with no bite, way up high. Count 1-2. Signal there from the catcher Chris Proctor. One of the universal motion there, pushing him with 2 hands down, saying, all right, let's take a little bit of the edge off here. Bases are empty with 2 outs and the Whitecaps leading 2-0. We're in the top of the 6th inning. And that one bounces in front of the plate and whacks off the chest protector of Chris Proctor. So it's now 2 balls and 2 strikes on Curry with 2 out. Curry digging in as Mervis is looking to finish up this inning, this half inning. The pitch is down and away. And the count is full now. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Mickey Gasper. Both of the Whitecaps runs in this game coming via the sacrifice fly. Schuler had one in the second. The pitch is hit high in the air off the bat of Curry. It's heading into the left side. We'll see who calls for it, and it is the shortstop Proctor who eventually makes the call and makes the grab over toward the third base position. Had to dodge Coffey, the third baseman, who was out there as well. Kind of a confusing scenario, but it ends the inning. The Whitecaps are able to get a run. They don't get a hit. It was a walk and a stolen base, a sacrifice fly, and that was enough for the run to come across. Nobody was left on base in the top of the 6th inning for Brewster. We are through 5 1/2. Whitecaps 2, Harbor Hawks nothing. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Welcome back to Whitecaps Baseball here live from McKeon Park in Hyannis. Carter Waddell and Aiden Doyle here with you. We're getting ready to begin the bottom of the 6th inning. Brewster is ahead by a score of 2-0. A couple of sacked flies, one in the 2nd and one just a few minutes ago in the 6th inning, giving the pair of runs that Brewster has had in this game. New pitcher in the game for the Whitecaps. It's Ryan Avadano, and the lefty deals. The pitch is down and away to the switch-hitting Reese Hampton, who is now moving over to bat from the right side. Hampton is 0 for 2. Avadano, hailing from the University of Georgia at 6'6" tall. The pitch from lefty is swung and softly grounded foul left side. And the count is 1-1 strike on Reese Hampton. Avadano, a rising junior out of Peachtree City, Georgia. A lot of Georgia Peaches in this game. There are 4 or 5 of them on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks roster, and now one in the game pitching for Brewster. This past season, the numbers aren't great for Avadano as the lefty deals. The pitch is low, so he's behind him. A count now 2-1 to Reese Hampton. In 24 1/3 innings pitched, a 7.77 ERA for Ryan Avadano. That's in 18 appearances, all but one of them came out of the pen. The lefty deals, it's hit high in the air toward the right side, down the right field line. Calling for it is the second baseman Dixon, and he falls over, can't make the play, and it's ruled a fair ball. He was in fair territory when he touched it with his mitt, heading around second and motoring into third base, sliding in and getting there. And they call him, they're calling him safe at third base. In there is Hampton, a strange play indeed, as that one was off the mitt of Troy Dixon, the second baseman. Ran the ball, had to reach back, and it was ruled a fair ball. So in safely at third base is Hampton. And that's going to be interesting to see how that scoring decision comes through. It has not yet, but it's a runner on third with nobody out, and it's Ford Proctor now up for the Harbor Hawks. The lefty is 0 for 2 in this game with a strikeout in the 1st inning. Lefty to lefty, the pitch is in there for a fastball strike. Avadano's got a fastball in the high 80s. Also has a curveball and a changeup that he'll mix in as well. They are scoring that a triple on the misplay there from Dixon. The pitch is just a bit low to even the count at 1-1. So Hampton will get all 3 of those bases on his stat sheet. Runner on third base, the leadoff hitter Hampton. It's 2-0 Whitecaps here in the bottom of the 6th. Second time tonight that the Harbor Hawks have gotten a runner in scoring position. The pitch is swung and grounded softly foul first base side toward the backstop. And it's now 1-2 on Ford Proctor. Proctor, as I mentioned earlier, from Rice University, hit the Rice won the Conference USA title in a walk-off to beat Southern Miss. That was how they got to the NCAAs. Pitch to the lefty is a breaking ball in there for a called strike 3 on the inside corner. Able to place that curveball was Ryan Avadano. We've seen a lot of big benders in this game, and he's able to get Ford Proctor looking. Proctor now 0 for 3 with a couple of Ks, and here comes the 3-hitter Tyler Frank.
Well, just a great pitch there by Avadano. Really caught the inside corner. Looked like it was going to be a ball at first, but good stuff that he's shown so far. You know, he's a guy who possesses a good repertoire, a good arsenal, whatever you want to call it. It's just a matter of commanding that.
The pitch to the righty Frank is swung on and missed on the off-speed pitch. That was another breaking ball coming in from Avadano. Fooled them there by starting it off with that at-bat. Runner still on third base. An important moment here again for the Harbor Hawks. We saw this earlier in the 5th inning when Hyannis was able to put on a couple of runners via back-to-back singles and could not bring any of them around. The pitch is in the dirt, and the count is 1-1 on Tyler Frank. Frank on his day is 0 for 2. Hit a fly ball to left and then hit a hard line drive right to Given at short. In the 4th inning, his last time up. Avadano pausing to moisten his hand. Now steadies himself on the rubber and is ready to deliver to Frank. Here's the pitch. It's a breaking ball and it's outside. Just missed there as Schuler had to reach out a bit to glove it. And the count is 2-1. Whitecaps are leading 2-0 in the bottom of the 6th inning. both teams have been pretty comparable offensively, but a couple of balls have bounced the right way for Brewster in this game. The pitch is swung and fouled away toward the left side. So it's 2-2 on Frank. Frank, hailing from Florida Atlantic University, he spent some time at catcher his freshman year, filling in for an injured teammate, so has that versatility to him. Part of an FAU team that won 35 games this past year, went 35-21 and 1. Previous year's team made it to an NCAA regional. Pitch to the righty is swung on and missed. He got him. Tyler Frank goes down. He's 0 for 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Ryan Avadano, and there are 2 gone.
Well, you mentioned Avadano's stats earlier in the broadcast, and yes, they're not great. 2-2, 7.77 ERA. But in just 24 and a third innings, he did strike out 29 batters. So he's got, like I mentioned, good stuff. He's got stuff to make hitters swing and miss. Again, it's just a matter of commanding it, because in those 24 and a third, he walked 19.
Here's Brendan Donovan. The lefty takes a pitch outside. It squirts away a bit from Schuler, the catcher, but no advance as he was able to pounce on it pretty quickly. The runner at third base, Hampton, stays right where he is. And the count is 1-0 early on Donovan. Donovan, like pretty much every other Hyannis Harbor Hawk in this game, is 0 for 2. Lefty to lefty. Donovan, the infielder from South Alabama. The pitch. Swan hit hard on the ground to second base. Fielded over there by Dixon. He'll flip over to first base for the out. And Avadano is able to not let the leadoff triple come around to score. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 runner left on base in the bottom of the 6th inning for Hyannis. We are through 6. It's 2-0 Whitecaps. Don't go away. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball.
Whitecaps here at McKeon Park in beautiful Massachusetts. It'll be 5, 6, and 7 in Brewster's order. Due up Chandler Taylor, Darius Hill, and Pete Schuler against Matthew Mervis, Hyannis' reliever. Taylor on the day 0 for 2, reached on an error by the second baseman Frank back in the second, stole second, and would come around to score eventually on a Pete Schuler sacrifice fly. He takes ball 1 low and outside, and then he grounded out to the first baseman in the 4th inning. The entire field basically now in shadows. Lights are on here in Hyannis as the right-handed Mervis kicks and deals. This one misses down and away again, and Taylor quickly ahead, 2 balls, no strikes.
The line on Kevin Coulter, who Mervis relieved, 5 1/3 innings pitched, 3 hits allowed, gave up 2 runs, only 1 was earned. He walked 1 and struck out 4.
Mervis through the windup, kicks and deals. Fastball misses below the knees, and Taylor had 3 balls, no strikes. Amazingly in this game, Hyannis actually has more hits than Brewster, but trails 2-0 as Mervis kicks and the 3-0. Given the green light, Taylor swinging, fouls it off over the third base dugout, now to play. But really the killer for the Harbor Hawks, the 2 errors allowed Chandler Taylor to come around and score back in the 2nd inning, which gave Brewster a 1-0 lead. as Taylor looks at a fastball down and away for ball 4, and the Whitecaps have the leadoff man aboard.
That's another leadoff walk. The 2 runs that Brewster has been able to score in this game, one was a leadoff error, and it was Chandler Taylor that reached coincidentally, and the other was a leadoff walk for Troy Dixon. So those leadoff runners have come back to bite the Harbor Hawks in this game.
Now Darius Hill, left fielder out of West Virginia, steps into the box. He's 0 for 2 today. Lined out to the second baseman in the second, and then flew out to the left fielder in the 5th. And the first pitch from Mervis, a fastball, and it gets past Proctor. Advancing to second is Taylor. And just like that, the Whitecaps have another runner in scoring position.
Boy, that's very similar to, again, how those 2 leadoff hitters were going. They both stole second base. So again, the double play is taken away, and it's something, I think the Harbor Hawks fans here at the ballpark are thinking, well, we've seen this movie before.
Interesting feature here at McKeon Park, the backstop is solid brick, so if a ball gets past the catcher, it typically comes right back to him. 1-0 count on Hill. Mervis comes set as Taylor leads off of second, kicks and deals. Fastball misses in the dirt, ball 2. I remember last year the Kettleers were playing the Harbor Hawks, and there was a play where it was a close game. I actually believe it was 1-0. And Katuit was in the field. Hyannis had a runner in third, and a ball got past the catcher for Katuit and came right back to him. The runner tried to score from third, and they tagged him out for the third out of the inning. So a huge play in that game, as now the Hyannis pitching coach takes a visit to Matthew Mervis.
Be interesting to see how they handle this situation. We saw them bide their time before bringing Mervis in. That was in the 6th inning. But this is I know I sound like kind of in a broken record here, but this is an important scenario. There's a runner in scoring position. There's it's a close game. Whitecaps ahead 2-0. We've seen this now for the past 3 innings. And so far, aside from the 2 sac flies from Brewster, no team has been able to capitalize in this game.
In a game like this, where just 2 runs have been scored, both of them by the Whitecaps, really any situation with a runner in scoring position important, as Chandler Taylor leads off of second base. Hyannis' pitching coach now returns to their dugout as Darius Hill digs back in, ready to face off against Matthew Mervis, who is behind on the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Mervis looking into his catcher, Proctor. Gets the nod and now comes set. Kicks and the 2-0. Fastball misses high, about chin level, and Hill ahead in the count, 3 balls, no strikes. There is action in the Harbor Hawks bullpen. Mervis set and the 3-0. Hill shows bunt, but Mervis misses downstairs, and both of the first 2 batters of the inning for the Whitecaps aboard via the walk.
That looks like Davis Vayner out there, the Alabama product hailing from Atlanta, warming up for Orleans, we were in Orleans last night for Hyannis.
Now the catcher and number 7 hitter, Pete Schuler, digs in for the Whitecaps. Where's number 17 for Brewster? One of the taller catchers you'll see, listed at 6'3", out of Kent State University. Big opportunity for him here. Runners on first and second, no outs here in the top of the 7th inning.
That's something that does jump out to you, doesn't it? Usually the catcher, not the tallest guy on the team. But imposing presence on the plate, he's able to get a head up on our home plate umpire tonight.
Right now, he and outfielder Devin Foyle are the 2 tallest position players at 6'3". He's by far the tallest catcher, 3 inches taller than Michael Curry from the University of Georgia.
But of course, there are 2 6'7" players for the Harbor Hawks. So
true. And now it looks like Hyannis will pen once again. Looks like Matthew Mervis, his night is done after issuing 2 walks to lead things off in the top of the 7th. Yes, it is. He is walking back to his dugout, and Pete Schuler will see a new pitcher. We'll take a break here as the new pitcher warms up. Keep it right here. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball. Pete Schuler digs into the box for the Whitecaps against a new Hyannis Harbor Hawks pitcher. It's Davis Vayner, the right-hander out of the University of Alabama, originally hailing from Atlanta, Georgia, listed at 6'1", 180 pounds. As he steps off the mound to check on Chandler Taylor at second. Let's reset the scene. 2-0 Whitecaps over the Harbor Hawks in the top of the 7th inning. Runners on second and first. Chandler Taylor on second, Darius Hill on first. Both of them got there on walks. As now Schuler digs in, left-handed batter against the right-handed throwing Vayner, whose first pitch, fastball, misses below the knees for ball 1.
It's a tough outing there for Mervis. He comes on, gives up a sacrifice fly that needed a great play out in center from Hampton, then a pop out and then a couple of walks, and his night was done.
1 ball, no strikes to Pete Schuler. As Vayner comes set and deals this one, gets past Proctor, bounces back and over his head. Taylor advances to third and Hill to second. And a lack of control continues to hurt the Harbor Hawks pitchers.
Don't think I've ever seen that before. 2 wild pitches in the same inning from 2 different pitchers. And second and third. They say every time you come to the ballpark, right?
You never see, or you always see something new. So now runners on second and third. Pete Schuler tonight, 1 for 1, hit a sacrifice fly in the second inning that got the Whitecaps' first run in, and this one lined into center field. Coming on is Hampton, and he gets it for the first out of the inning. A nice play by Reese Hampton. He made one going back earlier in the game to get Mickey Gasper, sacrifice fly there, and now this one coming in. Chandler Taylor had to go back to third base, so the run does not score, and there's now 1 down in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, that might have been a run-saving read off the bat for Hampton out there in center field. We've seen a couple of plays where center fielders will hesitate. They'll move back before they move forward because that's what they've been taught. But that time he saw the ball come off the bat, knew exactly where it was, and he needed a perfect read to come up again and grab that baseball, which is exactly what he did.
Now it's Chris Givens stepping in for the Whitecaps, right-handed hitting shortstop out of Xavier University. Looks at a first pitch breaking ball that misses outside for ball 1. Given tonight 0 for 2, grounded out to the second baseman and the second, and then popped out to the second baseman for the second out in the 5th. Hill with a big lead off of second. Infield in here in Hyannis. Another breaking ball from Vayner, misses down and away for ball 2. Given at this point, having an basically untucked jersey. As Vayner deals fastball, this one over the inner part of the plate for strike 1.
Chandler Taylor's had a few hustle plays this season. He's going to be hustling again if we see a ground ball here. It'll be going home most likely with this infield in. And Taylor standing on third.
Vayner's 2-1, breaking ball in there for strike 2, and the count evens 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That's a great pitch. Just drop that one in there. That's something that takes guts when you've got 2 runners in scoring position to drop in a curveball for a strike, but it works beautifully there.
Vayner looking into his catcher Proctor, deals this one, hit in the air out towards center field, charging is Hampton, and it'll fall in front of him. Taylor scores from third. Hill advances to third where he's held there. And now the Whitecaps tack on another one. They continue to lead in this ballgame, this time now 3-0, Carter.
And we've got an RBI hit, the first one of the ball game. No Reed could get Hampton to grab that ball. That one dropped maybe a couple of feet beyond the infield grass. That was a tough ball to track. And a good piece of hitting from Given, just what the doctor ordered for the Whitecaps. Even more breathing room now for Brewster.
And now it'll be the number 9 hitter, Christian Molfetta, third baseman out of Stanford University. Runners on the corners for the Whitecaps. Darius Hill on third, Chris Given at first. 1 down here in the top of the 7th. As this one hit in the air out towards center field, once again charging is Hampton, and this one will drop in front of him. Darius Hill scores from third, and it'll be Chris Given moving to second, so the hit parade continues as Christian Molfetta picks up an RBI single, his first hit of the season. He's now 1 for 4 on the year for the Whitecaps.
How's that for a couple of plays? That was a carbon copy of the previous play. It landed practically in the same spot on the turf, and the Whitecaps are able to capitalize. Like I was saying before, we've seen so many tense moments with runners in scoring position, and no team have been able to get an RBI hit. Whitecaps get 2 of them in rapid succession.
Back to the top of the order now as Troy Dixon digs in. First pitch from Vayner. Breaking ball misses downstairs for ball one, and now the catcher Proctor will go out to the mound to have a chat with his right-handed reliever.
And those two singles are bad news for Mervis because both of those runs are going to be charged to him. Both reached via walks before Mervis got pulled.
Dixon tonight, 0 for 2. Walked in the sixth, then stole second, and would come around a score on the Mickey Gasper sacrifice fly. 1-0 the count to the left-handed hitting second baseman. Now 2-0 after Vayner misses high and outside of the fastball.
I've liked the way that Troy Dixon has approached his at-bats so far tonight. Just the one walk to his name in terms of getting on.
This pitch misses outside to Dixon, and now it's 3-0. So once again, Harbor Hawks pitchers having trouble finding the zone. Vayner looking into his catcher Proctor, now comes set. And a fastball misses in the dirt, and Dixon, for the second time tonight, reaches with a walk. Now it's going to be bases loaded for the Whitecaps, with Steele Walker coming to the plate, and another big spot for Brewster.
Wow, a tough position if you're a Harbor Hawk, a fan in the dugout or on the mound in Vayner. Walker has been known to knock the cover off the ball, especially last summer in the Northwoods League and last season where he was all Big 12 with Oklahoma. And that short right field porch is looking even shorter right now.
Left-handed hitting outfielder Walker looks at a first pitch fastball from Vayner over the outside corner for strike one.
And I tell you what, that's the pitch you got to throw. That was a well-located fastball on the black for strike one, just what Vayner needed to set the tone.
Walker tonight 0 for 3, struck out in the first, grounded out to short, and now looks at a fastball very high. Walker's fly ball in the sixth nearly got out of here at McKeon. Wind knocked it down a little bit. Count 1-1 on the left-handed hitting outfielder as Vayner comes set. This one fouled straight back, and the count moves to 1-2. 4-0 Whitecaps here at McKeon Park in Hyannis. Two of them coming around in this inning on RBI singles from Chris Given and Christian Molfetta. And a chance for some more here with the bases loaded and just one out. Davis Vayner comes set. Breaking ball in the dirt for ball two, and the count evens 2 balls and 2 strikes. Steele Walker with one of the best offensive seasons you're going to see out of any player, really, here on the Cape League this year for Oklahoma. As he chops this one softly towards second, charging is Frank. Fields throws on to first just in time to get Walker, but a run comes in. Chris Given scores from third, and now the Whitecaps tack on another one. They're up 5-0 with 2 down in the top of the seventh.
Walker, the beneficiary of that high hop on that chopper. There wasn't anything Frank could do. Like you said, he barely was able to get Walker at first base. And now the Whitecaps are widening the gap here, starting to break this game open, and still opportunities to get some more runners across here in the seventh.
It'll be the number 3 hitter, Mickey Gasper, up now. He's 1 for 2 on the day. A single in the first, and then a sacrifice fly in the sixth. And he looks at a first pitch fastball for strike one. Oh, 0-1 the count on the switch hitting first baseman batting left against the right-handed throwing Vayner. Deals a breaking ball in at the knees for strike 2. Vayner's 0-2. Breaking ball misses down and away in the dirt. Nice block by Proctor to hold Christian Molfetta at third. Vayner deals this one roped into right field. Coming on is Newstrom, and it hangs up just enough for the third out of the inning. Got a good piece of it, but right at the right fielder. but the Whitecaps tack on 3 more. 2 on RBI singles by Chris Given and Christian Molfetta, and 1 on a Steele Walker RBI ground out. 3 runs on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. We've played 6.5. It's time to stretch here in Hyannis. Whitecaps on top of the Harbor Hawks, 5-0. Keep it right here. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball. Pitching change here at McKeon Park in Hyannis. Joe Demers, right-hander out of the University of Washington, in relief for the Whitecaps. And the first batter he faces is Robert Newstrom, who swings at a first-pitch fastball from Demers and fouls it straight back to the netting.
Lionel Navadano, who he replaced, 1 inning pitched, 1 hit, didn't allow a run, no walks, 2 strikeouts.
5-0 the score here. Brewster on top of Hyannis. Demers working quickly ahead in the count, 0-1. Another fastball, this one fouled off once again over the third base dugout, and Demers quickly ahead, 0-2. Demers listed at 6 feet tall, 240 pounds, originally from Martinez, California. This year he was an all Pac-12 honorable mention with the Huskies. Kicks in is 0-2. Breaking ball, this one chopped foul towards the Whitecaps dugout as Newstrom stays alive. He went 6-3 with a 3.35 ERA in 15 appearances, 14 of them starts. Led the Huskies in starts, was second in ERA. Was also second in strikeouts, innings pitched, and opponent's batting average. And his 0-2 fastball misses high and outside for ball 1. One of the more interesting prep careers, Demers. 3-time gold medalist for the USA national team as a member of the 14, 16, and 18 and under teams. This breaking ball lined off the glove of a leaping Dixon and into right field. Newstrom has himself a single. Dixon jumped about as high as he could and just off of the end of his glove. If only he were a couple inches taller. I mean, he got up there, but just over the tip of his glove.
Yeah, been a rough night for Dixon. Hasn't been charged with an error over there at second base, but has had a couple of plays that have bounced off of his gloves today, as that is turning into tonight.
And now the most productive hitter for the Harbor Hawks tonight steps in, Micah Coffey. He's 2 for 2. As Demers working from the stretch now. This one chopped right back to him, has a chance for 2, throws to Given at short, in time, onto first in time, and a 1-6-3 double play immediately erases the leadoff single, and just like that, 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th.
That was a nice awareness play there from Demers to go and snag the baseball and immediately wheel around over there to second base. Sometimes pitchers, we saw it last night in New Orleans, can get a little bit confused with that sort of wheeling around motion, and he was able to stay.
That'll bring up Daniel Robinson, left fielder. It's 1 for 2 tonight, singled back in the 5th off of the starter J.R. McDermott, as Demers pours a first pitch fastball in for strike 1. Here in the bottom of the 7th, 5-0 Whitecaps on top of the Harbor Hawks. Demers looking into his catcher Schuler, now through the windup. And another fastball, this one paints the inner black for strike 2. Demers, like I mentioned, as a prep player, was a Max Prep first team All-American and National Player of the Year as a senior. As he misses outside with an off-speed pitch, he threw 3 no-hitters as a senior in high school, where he touched 96 miles an hour. And in fact, while pitching for the 14 and under USA national team in the bronze medal game, threw a perfect game versus Nicaragua, as Robinson hits this one high in the air to right field, but Taylor is there and he puts it away for out number 3. So he gets the help of a double play, but Demers sets down the Harbor Hawks in order. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, no one left on base. We've played 7 in here in Hyannis. Whitecaps on top of the Harbor Hawks 5-0. Keep it right here. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball. Four, 5, and 6 due up for the Whitecaps in the top of the 8th inning, and they'll face a new Harbor Hawks pitcher. It's Connor Green out of the University of Mississippi. He relieves Davis Vayner. Had to look there for a second. Thought almost wanted to say Matthew Mervis, but no, he came out earlier. Michael Curry leading things off for the Whitecaps. Another righty on righty matchup. Curry tonight 1 for 3, doubled back in the first. And the first pitch from Green. Fastball misses down and away for ball 1.
Vayner, as you were mentioning there, finishes the game 1 inning pitched, 2 hits allowed, gave up 1 run. It was earned, excuse me. He walked 1 batter and didn't strike anybody out. There were 2 more runs that scored in that inning that were charged to Mervis.
1-0 from Green. Fastball on the outer edge. Curry didn't like it, but it evens count at 1-1.
Mervis's line 2 2/3 of an inning plus. No hits allowed, but a couple of earned runs, 2 walks. They both came around to score, and no Ks.
Green through the windup and the 1-1. Off-speed pitch. This one paints the outer black, and he's quickly ahead of 1-2. Green sporting the high socks look, which I have to say I am a fan of. As Green pours a fastball, this one misses in the dirt. Count evens, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, not too many of the Harbor Hawks are going with the high socks today. Looks like just Robinson out in left field is the only one that's sporting them, besides, of course, our hurler.
2-2 from Green. Fastball in the dirt, count runs full. Curry, on the other hand, sporting the stirrup look, which, again, I have to say I'm a fan of. Kids have gotten away from the stirrups. I think it's just a classic look. Full count to Curry as Green's through the windup, and the off-speed pitch misses high, and once again, the leadoff man for the Whitecaps aboard with a leadoff walk.
Well, you know, the last few times that has happened, that's happened 3 times in this game where the Whitecaps have been able to get the leadoff runner aboard, and all 3 times that runner has come around to score. So an ominous feeling there to that leadoff walk for Michael Curry, and now the powerful Chandler Taylor, who scored twice, he was that leadoff runner twice, digs in.
It's the third consecutive inning in which the leadoff man has walked. First pitch fastball from Green on the inner edge for strike 1. Taylor tonight, 0 for 2, reached on an error, but has 2 runs scored after walking in the 7th and advancing on 2 wild pitches. The 0-1, this one roped down the right field line and fair. Curry rounding second as this one rolls toward the corner. Taylor will hold at first, but Curry into third safely, and now the Whitecaps have their first 2 men aboard and runners on the corners for Darius Hill.
Nice piece of hitting there, just ripped that one over down the line. Taylor, a lefty with power, well suited to the ballpark we're in tonight. And another chance for Brewster to tack on some runs. This feels a lot like last night's game, doesn't it? Dominant pitching for the most part from the Brewster Whitecaps pitching staff, and then the offense just tacking on runs here and there when they can.
Darius Hill stepping in now. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Reached on a walk in the 7th and advanced on one of those wild pitches that Taylor also advanced on. Spot here with a runner in scoring position. First pitch swinging. Lifts this one foul over the third base dugout and out of play.
Yeah, I think Taylor's got one of the more interesting score sheet lines that we'll see all year. Reached on an E4, stolen base E1, and a ground ball. Reaches on a walk, advances twice on a wild pitch. He's got 2 runs scored. He's got a single. Everything.
0-1 the count to Hill. Green working from the stretch. Deals. Fastball misses inside. Gets away from Proctor. Runner comes home, slides, and he's in there. Safe. Michael Curry scores from scores from third on a pass ball as Taylor advances to second on the play as well.
That was a terrific play there from Michael Curry because, as you mentioned, we have a brick backstop here in Hyannis. It's very hard to choose whether you're going to run for the home plate on a play like that. He committed early, and he went full speed, and he was able to get down there with plenty of time.
So now a runner on second with still nobody down. The 6th run of the evening for the Whitecaps as they match their run total from last night's victory over the Orleans Firebirds. 1-1 the count to Darius Hill. Pitcher Green deals a fastball cut on and missed by Hill. Pete Schuler waits on deck for the Whitecaps. 1-2 the count to Hill as Taylor leads off of second. Green comes set. Kicks and the 1-2. Off-speed pitch misses high. Count evens, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Green looking into his catcher Proctor. Now comes set. Kicks and the 2-2. Fastball misses down and away, and another full count for a Whitecaps hitter.
So far, it's been a bit of a laboring performance from Green since he came in to begin this inning. Hasn't been able to control the at-bats.
Full count to Darius Hill, and the payoff pitch lined on a ground towards short, fielded by Proctor. Throw onto first in time, but Taylor is able to advance to third on the play. So Hill moves the runner over on the 6-3 ground out.
The catcher for Kent State, number 17, Pete Schuler.
Pete Schuler now stepping into the box for the Whitecaps. Left-handed hitting catcher out of Kent State. It's 1 for 2 tonight. Had a sacrifice fly and an RBI in the second inning. Singled in the fifth and then flew out to center in the seventh. He looks at ball one as Green misses high and outside with a fastball. Infield in for Hyannis. Runner on third is Chandler Taylor, who reached on a single to right. 1-0 the count to Pete Schuler as he chops this one foul. And the count evens 1 ball and 1 strike.
Schuler, one of those 3 catchers that have found the lineup already in some way, shape, or form for Jamie Shevchik's club. It'll be interesting to see how he plays those cards moving forward as the roster continues to shift.
Even Christian Molfetta, who's playing third base tonight, is listed as a catcher on the Stanford Baseball website.
That's right. So make that 4 then.
1-1 from Green, swung on and missed, blew a fastball right past Schuler, and the count moves to 1-2.
Yeah, just missed that. Sounded like he got a foul tip, but just too fast for him, as you said.
Chris Given waiting on deck. It's 1 for 3 tonight with an RBI single. But a chance for Schuler to score another, or not get another run here for the Whitecaps as he lifts this one in the air down the left field line, slicing away from Robinson though, and it'll fall out of play as Schuler stays alive. Count remains 1-2.
Just fighting that one off. Good job by Schuler to extend the at-bat.
Some action in the Harbor Hawks bullpen once again. Seems like a common. Some action in the Whitecaps bullpen as well.
That's Ricky Constant from UMass Lowell warming for Hyannis.
1-2 fastball from Green, cut on and missed by Schuler. He goes down swinging for out number 2 in the top of the 8th.
It's a good job to almost come from behind in that at-bat by the pitcher Green. Able to finish him off with the fastball there. Was struggling. He struggled a bit with his command in this outing, but right there was on top. It's key to set the tone in an at-bat like that.
Right-hander warming up in the Whitecaps bullpen is Tony Losi, right-handed reliever out of the University of Georgia, another Bulldog. First pitch, as Chris Given sees, is a fastball high, has to duck out of the way of that one, ball 1.
Yeah, Brant Stallings, who was due up to start the next inning for Hyannis, plays for Georgia Tech, so we may see a little football rivalry on the baseball.
Breaking ball from Green in there for strike 1. Count evens 1 ball and 1 strike to Given. Given, like I mentioned, 1 for 3 tonight. Knocked in the first run of what would become a 3-run 7th for the Whitecaps. As Green kicks and deals. Fastball, this one paints the outer black. Count moves to 1-2. Molfetta waiting on deck. Hoping to get an opportunity to hit tonight. Or excuse me, not tonight, this inning. He's already gotten 3 tonight. And the 1-2 from Green. Breaking ball in there, strike 3. Given goes down looking. But the Whitecaps tack on another one. 1 run scores on 1 hit, no errors. 1 man left on base. We played 7.5 here in Hyannis. It's 6-0 Whitecaps on top of the Harbor Hawks. Keep it right here. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball. Welcome back to McKeon Park in Hyannis, where the Whitecaps lead the Harbor Hawks 6-0 as we move to the bottom of the 8th inning. Joe Demers still on the mound for the Whitecaps, facing Brant Stallings, first baseman for the Harbor Hawks, and his first pitch skied in the air, back behind the backstop. Schuler giving chase by the netting, and he makes the catch. Looked like that one might get out of play, but no, it stays fair, or in play, and Schuler able to put it away for out number 1. So one pitch, one out in the bottom of the 8th, and now it'll be the number 9 hitter, catcher Chris Proctor, coming to the bat for the Harbor Hawks.
Good awareness there from Schuler. There's a good amount of room down the lines and foul ground here in Hyannis, but still a ballpark he's never been in before in his life, and he was able to navigate that very well to catch that pop fly.
One down in the bottom of the 8th. First pitch fastball from Demers misses high. Proctor showed bunt but took it back as Molfetta charged from third. Wind still blowing out towards the left field foul pole across the field. Left-handed hitting Proctor up at bat. He's 0 for 2 today. Flew out to left in the 3rd and grounded out to 3rd in the 5th. 1-0 the count, and the right-hander from Washington deals a fastball on the inner edge for strike 1. It has really become a chilly night here in Hyannis. Carter, I know you've got your jacket on. I've got my sweatshirt on. As Proctor fouls this one off over the netting and out of play. Count moves to 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I tell you what, the ball players, I'm looking at the 10 ball players out on the field right now, including the hitter, and I'm not seeing any sleeves. These guys are sticking it out.
Anthony Prado has replaced Troy Dixon at second base, so a defensive switch in the later innings for Coach Jamie Shevchik. 1-2 fastball from Demers, misses in the dirt. Count evens 2 balls and 2 strikes. And now catcher Pete Schuler go out and hand deliver the new baseball to Demers. Both of the players, or both of the catchers tonight, with Proctor up at bat and Schuler obviously behind the plate, wearing number 17 with the baggy pants look, both left-handed hitters. You never know what you're going to see as Proctor chases a down and in breaking ball, swings and misses. Nice block by Schuler, throw on to first in time. So a strikeout for Demers, and they're 2 down in the bottom of the 8th.
Good job by Demers to get him on that breaking ball. Had to go ahead and complete that play over at first base.
The center fielder from Charlotte.
Looks like they're going to leave him in to come in and face the top of the order.
And it'll be Reese Hampton, center fielder for the Harbor Hawks, who is 1 for 3, had an interesting triple back in the 6th inning, but was stranded there by Ryan Aviano as Hampton fouls a first pitch fastball back into the netting. Hampton dumped a triple down the right field line in between Dixon, Gasper, and Taylor. Was able to obviously advance to third, but then Aviano struck out. Proctor looking, Frank swinging, and got a ground out from Donovan to second to end the inning as Hampton fouls another one off into the netting. Counts 0-2 on the left-handed hitting center fielder out of UNC Charlotte.
Taking a big walk around and leaving the circle in behind home plate here to try and reset. Now it's going to have to protect the plate with a couple of strikes.
Demers ahead in the count, 0-2. Kicks and deals a fastball. Hampton stays alive as he fouls this one up and over the Harbor Hawks dugout down the third base line.
He's just whacked off 3 pitches here just to stay in the at-bat.
Six to nothing the score. Brewster on top of the Harbor Hawks as Demers deals. Fastball lined into center field. That'll get down for a base hit. Moving over is Walker. He cuts it off. Hampton going for second. The throw in is high and over the head of Given. But it is backed up nicely by Gasper. So Reese Hampton 2 for 4 tonight with 2 extra base hits.
That was a terrific hit. Just lined that one through. He got the pitch that he liked. He saw 3 pitches he didn't. He fouled them all off, and then he got one he did. And it was a laser. I thought Steele Walker was going to have a chance out there in left center, but it's pretty deep, as you said, out to left center field. It was pretty deep in the gap, and the throw was too high.
And looks like it'll be a pinch hitter for the Harbor Hawks here. Ford Proctor's night is done. And it will be the new shortstop, I would assume,
Pinch hitting for the Harbor Hawks.
is
Jacksonville.
number 3, Dakota Jalilia. That's what the PA announcer pronounced his name as. So that's what I'm going with.
Not quite sure if that's it. It's Dakota Jolila at the plate.
Jalilia. Okay, that makes sense. Jalilia. That's my own mistake. Fastball from Demers misses down and away for ball one. His name spelled July, just like the month, and then L-I-A at the end.
Hailing from Jacksonville University, the Dolphins out of the Atlantic Sun Conference.
1-0 the count as Hampton leads off of second. Fastball paints the outer edge. Count evens 1 ball and 1 strike.
Jalila in 54 games for the Dolphins this year at .232 with just a .297 on-base percentage.
1-1 the count as Jalila swings through a breaking ball way out in front of that one, and Demers heading the count 1 ball and 2 strikes.
An important spot here, again similar to what we saw last night, trying to keep the shutout from happening, as right now the Whitecaps pitchers have been very comfortable so far in this game.
Demers comes set, and the 1-2. Breaking ball in the dirt, nice block by Schuler to keep Hampton at second, and the count evens 2 balls, 2 strikes, and there are 2s across the board here in Hyannis. Wind dying down a bit as the flag out in right center field isn't moving very much. 2-2 the count to Jalila, and he blows a fastball right past him. Jalila got a piece of it, but Schuler was able to hang on. So Joe Demers records 2 strikeouts as we move to the top of the ninth. Still 6-0 Whitecaps. Keep it right here. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball. Pitching change for the Harbor Hawks as we move to the top of the ninth inning. Ricky Constant in to relieve Connor Green, lefty out of UMass Lowell, hailing from Nashua, New Hampshire. He inherits a 6-0 deficit as the Whitecaps lead. Christian Molfetta, number 9 hitter for the Caps, leading things off here on the top of the ninth. Looks at a first pitch fastball for ball 1. Molfetta tonight, 1 for 3. RBI single in the 7th inning. That brought home Darius Hill in what was the second run of a 3-run 7th. 1-0 is behind Molfetta and goes all the way to the backstop. So now the count 2-0, and that is not something you see every day.
Yeah, that seems like he's just trying to get used to the baseball here. That's just slip right out of his hand. Cold conditions obviously make that tricky. but Constant will have to definitely get the command a little bit more precise for sure.
2-0 the count to Molfetta. Left-handed throwing Constant. Looking into his catcher, Proctor. Now comes set and the 2-0. Fastball on the outer edge for strike one. Molfetta out of Stanford University. We mentioned is actually listed as a catcher on Stanford's website, but playing third base tonight for the Whitecaps. 2-1, this one popped up down the first base line, heading towards the dugout. Moving over is the first baseman Stallings, and he's able to make the play right by the dugout for out number one.
That was a nice play from Stallings on a bit of a tricky pop fly. To navigate, there's a big old screen to protect the folks in the dugout there, but kind of juts out toward foul ground. Had to work his way around that before grabbing the baseball.
And now it's back to the top of the order for the Whitecaps. And the first pitch from Constant misses out. It's Anthony Prado up at bat after taking over for Troy Dixon defensively in the eighth.
The line on Green, whom Constant relieved. 1 inning pitched, 1 hit allowed, gave up an unearned run.
As the 1-0 fastball from Constant misses outside, now 2-0 on Prado.
Green walked 1 and struck out 2.
Prado last night in New Orleans, 0 for 3, grounded out to second and third, and struck out swinging. Lifts this one in the air, foul right over our heads and out of play. Count moves to 2-1. And in case you're wondering, Carter, once again, I did bring my glove just so I can pursue my dream of catching a foul ball while on the air.
Listen, if you become the first person to catch a foul ball through a screen behind home plate, that would be worth celebrating.
2-1 the count to Prado as Constant deals. This one right into the net right in front of us, but once again, to no avail. 2-2 the count to Prado.
I think you're tempting fate, Aiden. I think just a little bit you may be tempting fate.
I say, if this one comes right over the net and right into our hands, it'll be a sign, Carter. It's going to be a great year. 2-2 the count to Prado as Constant comes set. Kicks and deals. Fastball misses outside and the count runs full. Number 3 hitter Mickey Gasper waiting on deck. Excuse me, number 2 hitter Steele Walker. And the 3-2 from Constant. Fastball misses down and away. And Prado reaches with a walk.
Looks like we've seen a few free passes here from Whitecaps hitters tonight. By my count, that is the 6th walk drawn by a Brewster Whitecap in this game. And a lot of it has been less command of the pitchers and more patience at the plate, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Really a good job by Whitecaps hitters laying off of some close pitches. Sure, the Harbor Hawks pitchers haven't had great command, but it's been an excellent job by the Whitecaps hitters with their eyes at the plate. First pitch fastball to Walker, misses outside. And the center fielder from Oklahoma is ahead in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. Walker 0 for 4 tonight in his Cape League debut, but does have an RBI on a ground out back in the 7th. Breaking ball almost hits him, but it's called a strike as it broke right over the inner edge. Walker turned his back, trying to get out of the way, but a lot of movement there from the Constant breaking ball, and the count evens at 1-1. Lefty-lefty matchup as time is called. Mickey Gasper running out, getting a foul ball, or it's not a foul ball, but a ball that got away from the bullpen, which, much like AT&T Park in San Francisco, is down the foul line here. There is no bullpen beyond the fence as Constant misses inside with a fastball. 2-1 now the count to Walker. So it is possible that a ball could get away from the bullpen catcher, like what just happened, and then was retrieved by the on-deck batter. 2-1 the count as Constant deals. Walker swinging at a high fastball, lifts it foul over the third base dugout, and the count evens 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I have to imagine that puts a little bit more pressure on you as a bullpen catcher, right?
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
don't want to stop it in the middle of an important moment.
First of all, I mean, granted, my baseball career ended relatively early compared to these guys, but I can't even imagine catching 90 miles an hour from these guys. let alone doing it without anything to protect you and then kind of being embarrassed if it goes out onto the field. As Walker skies one, this one out of play behind the press box, and Walker stays alive. Count remains 2-2. You know, the bullpen catcher, one of the most underappreciated jobs in all of baseball.
You think so?
Oh yeah. I mean, what would a reliever be without their bullpen catcher?
It's true.
They'd have no one to warm them up.
That's true.
They'd just be thrown against a wall or something. The little things, Carter.
We don't want to live in that world.
I don't want to live in a world where there are no bullpen catchers. 2-2 the count to Walker as Constant comes set. This one hit on the ground, just foul to the right of first base. And so we'll do it again here in Hyannis.
Seems like Walker's been involved in a few of these lengthy at-bats so far. Nothing to show for it, though he does have an RBI in the game, but nothing to show for it in terms of hits. He's 0 for 4.
A short meeting between Chris Proctor and the pitcher Constant. And now Proctor coming back to home plate as Walker returns to the left-handed batter's box. Walker wearing a white sleeve on his left arm, but his right arm bare underneath the new teal jerseys that the Whitecaps debuted last night in Orleans. And the 2-2 swung on, and a broken bat on the foul tip. The very end of the bat, just a small piece, maybe 4 inches long, chipped off of Walker's bat, and so he'll have to return and get a new one.
Did that hit the baseball, right? I mean, it looked
yes,
like
yes.
Because that was a very, very small amount of contact that was able to do that.
He just got a piece of it, and I'm assuming the end of his bat is cupped. It almost looked like the ball perfectly, hit the cup at the end of the bat, and then, ripped off a piece of. I don't know. I'm not good with the whole physics aspect of it. But either way, Steele Walker has a new bat. He went from a brown one to now a half brown and half pine colored one as he looks at a breaking ball over the inner edge for strike 3. And Walker's down looking.
Tough debut night for Steele Walker. Does, as I mentioned, have the RBI to show for it, but 0 for 5 at the plate and involved in a lot of lengthy at-bats as he hands that bat over to the on-deck hitter.
That'll bring up Mickey Gasper, switch hitting first baseman from Bryant University. He's 1 for 3 on the day. Singled in the first, struck out looking in the fourth, had a sacrifice fly in the 6th, and flew out to right and the 7th. Anthony Prado leading off of first as a first pitch fastball from Constant paints the outer edge for strike 1.
That's Cesar Trejo in the on-deck circle right now for Brewster, so if he does get the opportunity, it looks like he'll hit for Curry.
Yeah, as Constant comes set, looking over at Prado at first. Kicks and deals. Off-speed pitch, this one misses high and outside. Count evens 1 ball and 1 strike. Constant looking into his catcher Proctor. Now comes set. 1-1 fastball misses down and away. And Gasper ahead in the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. Wind picking back up a little bit here in Hyannis. Swirling a bit as Constant's 2-1. Fastball on the inner edge. Gasper wasn't pleased, but the count evens at 2-2 here in the top of the 9th. Whitecaps on top of the Harbor Hawks 6-0. Both teams have 6 hits, but a big difference. The Harbor Hawks have committed 2 errors to the Whitecaps' none. Gasper, the switch hitter, now batting right-handed against the left-handed throwing Constant. 2-2 the count. This one lifted in the air, foul over the press box and out of play, so Gasper stays alive. Like Carter mentioned, Cesar Trejo waiting on deck, hoping to get an opportunity to hit here at McKeon Park. Anthony Prado leading off of first base. 2-2 breaking ball, catches the outer edge, and Gasper goes down looking, much to his dismay. So that'll do it for the top of the 9th. 1 run on no hits, or excuse me, no runs on no hits, no errors, 1 man left on base. When we come back, the Whitecaps have a chance to secure their 2nd win of the season and move to 2-0 on the season. a very young season to say the least. We move to the bottom of the ninth inning, 6-0 Whitecaps. Keep it right here. You're locked in. Whitecaps baseball. Pitching change here in Hyannis for the Whitecaps. It'll be Tony Losi, the big righty out of the University of Georgia. Once again, Carter, another Bulldog coming into the game. 6-0 Whitecaps here in the bottom of the ninth inning at McKeon Park. It'll be 3, 4, and 5 due up for the Harbor Hawks, and looks like we'll see a pinch hitter for Hyannis. Tyler Frank is out of the game. Reed Leonard is in. And the first pitch from Losi, a fastball, misses inside for ball 1. Losi listed at 6'3", about 240 pounds. Deals a fastball. This one chopped towards first, fielded by Gasper. Losi covering, and a flip is in time for out number 1. So 2 pitches, 1 out, and the Whitecaps are 2 outs away from their second win of the season. That'll bring up Brandon Donovan, tonight's designated hitter for the Harbor Hawks. He's 0 for 3. Ground outs to the second baseman and a strikeout swinging in the 4th. First pitch from Losi, fastball misses downstairs for ball 1. Losi working from the windup. Kicks in the 1-0. This one misses upstairs this time. 2-0 the count on Donovan. Losi looking into his catcher's shoulder. Through the windup, kicks in the 2-0. Fastball, that one had some gas on it, and right over the inner edge for strike 1. Losi once again looking in. Shakes off one side. Now gets what he wants, and the 2-1. Fastball just above the letters. 3-1 now the count on Donovan. Losi originally from Columbus, Georgia, where he attended Houston County High School. Coming out of high school, he was ranked as the #1 pitcher in the state of Georgia. And he walks Brandon Donovan, so the Harbor Hawks have a man aboard with 1 down in the bottom of the 9th. Losi, once, like I mentioned, the #1 pitcher in Georgia coming out of high school, and number 51 overall in the country by perfect game. His father, Anthony, played in the Chicago Cubs system in the early 90s. And once again, coming out of high school, he was a Rawlings perfect game first team All-American. Faces off now against Robert Newstrom, right fielder for the Harbor Hawks. He's 1 for 3 with a single to right. Donovan leading off of first. Losi now working from the stretch. Fastball over the inner half for strike one. This year for Georgia, Losi made 16 appearances, 8 of them starts. Went 2 and 4 with a 6.38 ERA. Throws a four-seam fastball, curveball, slider, and a changeup. In those 16 appearances, threw 42 and a third, but had some control issues as he misses high and outside with a fastball. Count evens at 1-1. Struck out 37 batters, so just under a strikeout per inning, but had 31 walks to go along with it. And he walked Brandon Donovan with 1 out here in the 9th, and now count even 1-1. Now 2-1 as Losi misses outside with a fastball to Robert Newstrom. Losi with one of the bigger personalities on this Whitecaps team. Certainly one of the more noticeable ones thus far. Really trying to keep everyone loose, making people laugh, even the coaches. Living with team president Chris Kenny and Pat Eggers here in Brewster, his host family, as he misses outside with a fastball. 3-1 now the count on Robert Newstrom. And I know Chris and Pat love to golf. I wonder if they'll take Tony out to the golf course at some point. Oh, they're nodding their heads. They think they will. So Tony Losi going to get a taste of the captain's golf course in Brewster. Brendan Donovan leading off of first. 3-1 fastball from Losi. Misses below the knees. And now the Harbor Hawks have 2 men aboard here with 1 out in the 9th. So once again, some control issues for Losi as he walks 2 straight batters, and now 2 men aboard for Micah Coffey, who has 2 hits tonight for the Harbor Hawks. 2 singles in his first 2 at-bats in the 2nd and 5th innings. And then he grounded into a double play in the 7th with Joe Demers on the mound. 6-0 Brewster over Hyannis. Left-handed hitting Coffey, third baseman out of the University of Minnesota, digs in with a blue Barnstable Bat Company bat. I like the look of that one. Losi set, kicks, and deals. Fastball misses high and inside for ball 1. So Losi certainly got the stuff. One of the harder throwers on this Whitecaps team, probably in the entire Cape League, and has good movement on his breaking pitches. 1-0 the count. This one fouled straight back to the net, and the count evens at 1 ball and 1 strike. And now catcher Pete Schuler will run out to the mound and have a chat with his big reliever. Coming up after the game, we'll have an interview with Coach Jamie Chevchik and hopefully J.R. McDermott. I know Carter's going to be taking care of that, so we'll see who